A pro gamer known as Lowelu paid me 100,000 yuan to replace his computer, and I pocketed 99,000 of it. A gorgeous client dropped 500,000 yuan for a custom car, and I walked away with 488,000 in profit. Even Chairman Lei of Dami Corporation came calling, offering 10 million yuan for a custom-built car, and I quietly kept 9.8 million of it as profit. Later, the Dragon Nation's military tracked me down, offering 200 million yuan for a tank. I figured, surely I wouldn't dare skim off the nation's own money, right? I held back, and still walked away with 180 million. You little punk, they said, you actually had the nerve to profit off Dragon Nation's own coffers. But first, let's put the tank's power to the test. Xiao Fei, I've got another order here, 600 million yuan. Get to it when you have a chance. I just smiled. I'll only take a small cut, you won't mind, right? After all, profiting off clients was the only way to earn system points, and points were the only thing that could level up my crafting system. Back when I'd first gotten the system, I had so little to do, my limbs were practically atrophying from boredom. So, out of sheer restlessness, I wandered into a live stream looking for work. Right then, a former pro gamer who went by the handle Troublemaker was raging on stream. If it weren't for this piece of junk computer lagging on me just now, I would have wrecked Baiyun and Dan Sha easily. Egged on by chat, Troublemaker tried to stage a comeback, and instead faceplanted 3 more rounds in a row. Troublemaker's composure shattered completely, while chat, ever eager for drama, only fanned the flames. Called it, this clown's got zero actual skill. Just then, a viewer named Frog spoke up. Troublemaker, ignore these haters. I believe your computer really did lag. When you're ready for a new rig, come find me, I'll cut you 20% off. Need a new computer? Find Frog, 30,000 yuan, and he only pockets 28,000 of it. Oh, so now you're coming for my business? Fang Gua, kick Frog out of my stream right now. This time I'm hunting down a real tech god to build me a rig. I'll show every one of you what real skill looks like. With that, he started scrolling through the live stream hall, and his eyes lit up. Godlike crafting shop, we fulfill every fantasy. This is the one. I want to go godlike, he muttered, already typing out his order. I want a rig for League that puts me in perfect man-machine unity, the kind where I can punch out Baiyun and kick down Li Yuanhao. I've got a legal team backing me, so if you can't deliver, don't even bother accepting my order. The moment viewers saw Troublemaker's order, chat lost it. Bro, you writing a novel over there? Man-machine unity? Why not just say you'll one-shot the Heavenly Gate while you're at it? This kid doesn't want a computer, he wants a magic artifact. Who in their right mind would even accept this order? Wait, the shop owner actually accepted it. Instantly, too. This guy must be out of his mind. Taking on a request that ridiculous? Look at the order total, 100,000 yuan. The second this kid files a fraud complaint, that's more than enough to land someone in prison. Well, this owner's really done it now. With business dead slow, my limbs had nearly forgotten how to move, so when I read Troublemaker's absurd order, I felt strangely calm. Sure, my system's first stage only unlocked civilian-grade Tier 2 crafting, but computer manufacturing fell well within that range. The moment Troublemaker read my reply, his expression froze for a second, and chat exploded. A medical exam? What does the shop owner need a medical exam for? I don't get it, why would building a PC require a physical? Troublemaker shot the chat a look of pure disdain. You people have no idea what you're talking about. This is called professionalism. The moment I fed Troublemaker's physical data into the system, I got my answer. The optimal display refresh rate for Troublemaker sat around 218 frames per second, with a CPU processing speed of 0.00058 milliseconds, meaning the delay between his hand movements and his character's response on screen needed to hit roughly 0.00098 milliseconds. Difficult, but not impossible. I activated the system's super laboratory. Host command received. Laboratory activation in progress. I glanced at the ancient, scrapped second-hand computer sitting in the corner, and a price tag flickered into view, 126 yuan. For a 100,000 yuan order. Subtract the 126 yuan cost, and I'd clear over 99,000 in profit, more than enough to hit the 80,000 points I needed to unlock the system's second stage. Super laboratory activation successful. Current stage 1 time ratio, 5:1. 5 days inside the lab equals 1 day in the real world. 2 options are currently available to the host. First, full entry into the super laboratory, the host will not age while inside. Second, send in a projection only, while the host's real body continues aging normally outside. If I leveled the system up further, that ratio could climb to 100:1, meaning I could spend an entire year inside while less than 4 days passed in the real world. Buzzing with excitement, I flipped the switch, scooped up the scrapped computer, and stepped straight into the super laboratory. Inside, I never needed to eat or sleep, my mind stayed sharp and fully charged the entire time. 3 days later, I'd finished crafting the graphics card, motherboard, CPU, and hard drive, every last component. Crafting score, perfect mark of 10. This build scored a 9. Figuring the memory module wasn't worth the extra time, I'd rushed that part a little. Still, a 5 or 6 year lifespan on this rig was more than generous. I'd entered the lab at 9 p.m., now it was 11 a.m., and barely more than half a day had passed in the real world. I shipped the finished PC straight to the address Troublemaker had left. By 6 p.m., viewers flooded into Troublemaker's stream the moment they got the notification, and the second they saw the title, "New PC has arrived," chat went wild. Holy cow, that fast? Is this new rig even legit? Built in under a day? Okay, I'll admit I'm a little curious now. The kid did drop a full 100 grand on this, after all. Troublemaker rubbed his hands together, buzzing with excitement. Alright everyone, let's witness this beast together. A second later, his expression froze solid. Where was the flashy RGB case? Where was the 28-inch curved monitor? Staring at a case caked in a thick layer of dust, Troublemaker's eye twitched violently. Is this Uncle Wong's old rig? I got scammed out of 100,000 yuan on this PC. No, I don't even want a refund. I just want to know, how many years in prison can I get this shop owner? Chat completely lost it. I can't breathe, give me 3 minutes to laugh. I live for watching this kid's world collapse. Honestly, anyone would lose it in this situation. This thing looks like it barely escaped a junkyard. Guess if you want a PC built right, you go with Frog, 30 grand, 28 profit. But this crooked shop owner? 100 grand order and he pockets 99,000 of it. Now I finally understood why the old crook had demanded a medical exam. He was making sure the kid wouldn't drop dead from shock on the spot. Troublemaker hung up the phone, grinding his molars nearly to dust. If I don't put you behind bars, I'll change my last name. With that, Han Lei, Troublemaker's real name, hauled the 100,000 yuan computer out for everyone to see. Word of the scam spread fast, and the platform took it seriously enough to send staff down to his stream to gather evidence. Now all Troublemaker had to do was run a performance test on the PC, so the staff could determine exactly how much of his 100 grand had actually been stolen. Suddenly, Troublemaker went rigid. Something's off, this junk heap booted up way faster than it should have. Refusing to believe it, Troublemaker shut it down and hit the power button again, while chat stared unblinking at the screen. Chat, look at this boot time, it finished before I even blinked. A decent computer needs 6 or 7 seconds just to boot. Troublemaker swallowed hard. 5, 7 seconds, no, wait. Not 6 seconds. 4.68 seconds. Did I hear that right? 4.68 seconds? That would mean this junk PC just crushed every computer on the market. I heard even the fastest boot times out there are still 5 seconds. A fast boot doesn't mean good performance. My guess is this thing's missing half its components, probably just an empty shell. An empty shell rig? Oh, that explains it. My condolences to this kid, for like, 1 whole second. Troublemaker slammed his fist on the desk. My lawyer already laid it out, 30,000 gets 3 years, 100,000 gets 10. For every extra 10,000 this guy scammed out of me, that's another year I'm sending him away for. He downloaded a benchmarking tool to test the PC. Something's not adding up. If this thing boots fast because it's missing parts, why is the download speed just as insane? Don't tell me we guessed wrong again, that this rig actually isn't fake. Troublemaker shot a glance at chat. Fake, my ass. I've got a dedicated gigabit line, of course it's fast. Wait, why does this benchmark tool look different from mine? Processor, unknown. Graphics card, unknown. Memory, unknown. Storage, unknown. For unknowns? Does that mean it can't even detect a brand? This thing isn't even generic knockoff tier? Damn, just how much did this Shenfei guy actually scam out of this kid? Wait, hold on, everyone look at the score readout. Processor score, 5,067,854. Graphics score, 3,098,540-1. Memory, 255,412. Storage, 701,576. Total score, 9,123,383. Am I seeing things, or is this a dream? I'm pretty sure the highest benchmark score in the entire country tops out at a few million. Did the software just glitch out? This score looks like a straight-up joke. Troublemaker took a deep breath and launched lolol. Only one way to know if a rig was any good, try it. He queued up, and matchmaking found a game almost instantly. Whoa, hold on, you guys know who's on the enemy top lane? It's Abin, Chen Zabin from Team BLG. Get ready to watch this kid get wrecked. Abin just got back from Worlds, going up against him is basically a death sentence. Troublemaker curled his lip. It's just Abin. Big deal. If my old rig hadn't been trash, I'd have handled Chen Zabin no problem. Hell, even that Jiang Chenglu kid wouldn't have stood a chance. The moment chat heard that, they burst out laughing. Alright, roast squad, saddle up, someone slap this kid awake. Sugarcoating goes to the back of the line, this kid doesn't get to taste one drop of hope. But once landing phase started, the whole chat went dead silent. Troublemaker's mechanics were on a level nobody had ever seen from him before. Troublemaker fought like a man who'd rather die standing than retreat to his tower, trading blows head-on with Abin. He suddenly realized his in-game precision had jumped by more than one whole tier, every auto-attack, every skill weave, landed buttery smooth. Whoa, am I seeing things, or is this a dream? Troublemaker had just solo-killed Abin in a single trade. You absolute legend. Keep this up and the World Championship's basically a formality for you. Riding the momentum, Troublemaker only grew fiercer, single-handedly carrying his whole team to victory. Abin, don't sweat it, this has to be about Troublemaker's new rig. Go check out his stream, you'll see. Word spread fast, and pros like Boozy and Xiao Hu all came flooding into Troublemaker's stream to see for themselves. Troublemaker sat frozen in front of his screen, unable to process what had just happened. The man-machine unity he'd demanded as a joke. This computer had somehow actually delivered it. Right then, his phone rang. Uncle Wang, so you're really going ahead with the lawsuit against Shenfei? No, wait, stop. Shenfei is my own brother. I'll explain everything later, I swear. Bottom line, this PC is worth every single yuan of that 100 grand. Next, Troublemaker fired up a AAA title to push the rig further. And get this, the cooling fan didn't even bother spinning. A still fan meant the CPU wasn't even close to its load limit. He'd expected the machine to hit its ceiling, turned out it hadn't even reached the starting line. Chat erupted all over again. So this is the kind of monster Brother Fei builds. I was wrong about you. Brother Fei, you'll forgive me, right? Brother Fei is the real deal. He's the true tech god of Dragon Nation. Waking up groggy well into the afternoon, I checked my phone and blinked. My shop's ranking had rocketed straight to the front page of live stream listings. I'd figured Troublemaker's rig might pull in a little attention. I hadn't expected it to blow up like this. Guess I wouldn't have to worry about scraping together points for my next system upgrade after all. Congratulations, host. Point requirement met. System has advanced to stage 2. Tier 1 civilian manufacturing encyclopedia now integrated into your mind, including but not limited to precision manufacturing of air conditioners, automobiles, smartphones, and more. Honestly, what I really wanted was stage 3, military-grade manufacturing. But leveling from stage 2 to stage 3 needed 10 million points. I sighed. Even earning 100,000 points a day, that was still 100 days out. I scrolled through the new orders piling up, almost all of them just more PC builds, the highest topping out at 150,000. Come on, people, use your imagination. I don't just build computers. Whatever you can dream up, I can build it. Then a new order popped up, 500,000 yuan. At the same moment, over in Hi Sister's stream, chat exploded. Wait, everyone else is getting a PC from Brother Fei and you're ordering a motorcycle? Feels like this old lady just wants to ride Brother Fei's hype train. Go ahead and ride it, sooner or later that's gonna bite you. Reading the chat, Hi Sister's face darkened. Don't you dare call me an old lady, I'm only 27. And I genuinely love motorcycles, I just don't want some generic mass-market model. And riding on his hype? Please, as if. Right then, chat lit up all over again. Whoa, hold up, Brother Fei actually accepted the old lady's order? Did his finger slip or something? I don't think it was a slip. I think Brother Fei's inner scammer just kicked back in. The guy above's got a point, sure, Brother Fei's builds perform like beasts, but let's be real about the looks. A case is like the cheapest part of the whole build, and Brother Fei still can't be bothered to spend on it. I pulled up Hi Sister's order details. Big Brother Fei, I'd love for you to build me a motorcycle. All the writers say cornering speed is the real skill, but I can't corner to save my life, so I just want something that's crazy fast in a straight line. The faster, the better. Also, I'm a girl, so Big Brother Shenfei, please make it look super pretty too. Love you. Reading her overly sweet message gave me full-body goosebumps. Still, since a young woman would actually be riding this thing, I decided to prioritize stability first. I wasn't about to let some pebble on the road cost her life. Speed still had to deliver, obviously. Looked like I'd have to eat a real cost this time. I gathered every material the bike needed from my raw material stock, 12,000 yuan total. Staring at that number stung, that was 12,000 points, gone. I had the frame built in no time. The engine and drivetrain, though, demanded far more care. After all, those two components were what actually decided the bike's top speed, and the exterior styling ate up plenty of effort too. About 15 days later, I stood back and looked at the finished bike, satisfied with my work. System evaluation complete. Host achieved a perfect score of 100. Host's comprehension and craftsmanship regarding vehicle shell design has broken through a threshold. Bonus reward, 100,000 points. Turned out the system wasn't such a Scrooge after all, throwing in a surprise bonus like that. Before, the lab to real-world time ratio had been 5 to 1. After hitting stage 2, it had jumped to an absurd 30 to 1. 15 days in the lab, and barely half a day had passed outside. I packaged the bike up and shipped it straight to Hi Sister. Everyone, look, the old lady's stream title just changed. New motorcycle from Brother Faye has arrived. No way, less than a full day, and Brother Faye already finished the old lady's bike. Any motorcycle experts watching right now? Is that build speed even remotely normal? 10-year motorcycle enthusiast here, I can tell you right now, anything built in a single day is guaranteed junk. Called it yesterday, the old lady was gonna get scammed by Brother Faye, and here we are. Looks like Brother Faye's inner scam artist is running at full power, same as always. Wonder how much of that 500 grand Brother Faye's gonna pocket this time. I did the math on that PC he built earlier, outside of whatever crazy hardware he cooked up himself, the raw materials probably didn't even hit 200 yuan combined. Bold prediction, out of this 500,000, he's clearing at least 400,000. Nah, you're lowballing it. Anything under 450,000 and Brother Faye doesn't even deserve the title of Scammer of the Year. The comments kept coming in waves, never letting up. Inside a private villa, Hi Sister sat in front of her screen, her face flushing red with irritation as she read them. What business is it of yours how my bike turns out? Seriously, as long as I like it, that's all that matters. Guess not streaming this was the right call, these haters are exhausting. Hands on her hips, Hi Sister huffed to herself. Can't I just enjoy unboxing my package in peace? Why does everyone else have to have an opinion? Fine, I'll just unbox it myself. You want to see my new bike? Too bad, no stream for you. With a final huff, Hi Sister made quick work of the massive shipping crate. But the second she laid eyes on the bike inside, her eyelid twitched violently. Shunfei, did you seriously just rob me blind? I hate this. I hate this so much. Why are you exactly what those haters said you'd be? Scammer, total scammer. The bike in front of her had a sleek, aerodynamic shape, sure, but good-looking was nowhere in the description. Under the sunlight, the shell looked exactly like rusted iron someone had scrubbed clean by brute force. It was ugly, ugly in every possible way. Hi Sister was on the verge of tears, heart utterly broken. But the second she swung her leg over and turned the key, all of that vanished. Wait, gas? Where's the gas? Shunfei, you absolute bastard. The shadiest crook on the face of this earth. I dropped 500,000 yuan and you couldn't even spring for a full tank. Shunfei, don't you dare think I won't actually call the cops. Let me test this thing's speed first. If I'm not satisfied, I'm going straight to the police to sort this out. Before she could go running to the police, though, she clearly needed a trip to the gas station first. On the push-up platform, more and more viewers were flooding into Hi Sister's stream after catching wind of the drama. Her numbers were nearly rivaling her peak live broadcasts. Naturally, everyone was dying to see the new bike. Yo, guys, you will never guess what I just saw. I literally just spotted the old lady, right now. What? Bro, you actually saw her? Take a picture, quick. What's the new bike look like? Chat exploded the instant a viewer named Undefeated Loner dropped that comment. Everyone held their breath waiting for more, and a few seconds later, Undefeated Loner finally followed up. I looked closer, turns out it was just her, alone, buying gas at a gas station. I didn't see the actual bike Brother Faye built her anywhere. She drove here in a car, actually. No idea why, does she just keep a spare habit of stockpiling premium gas or something? Confusion practically dripped from every word Undefeated Loner typed, but some sharper viewers caught on instantly. Wait, she's buying gas because Brother Faye shipped the bike with an empty tank, isn't she? That's got to be it. Brother Faye truly earns his title as king of scammers, can't even spare 100 yuan of gas. You can always count on Brother Faye, he never once disappoints. Guess the earlier prediction stood, 450,000 really was underselling it. He'd probably pocketed closer to 470 or 80,000. Once she'd filled the tank, Hi Sister turned the key, and the bike I'd built roared instantly to life. After strapping on her helmet, Hi Sister rode off from the villa. She'd ridden bikes before, sure, but she was clearly an amateur. She didn't really understand performance specs at all. Twisting the throttle the whole way, she rode about 2 kilometers before pulling over. Phew, this thing rides smooth, at least. Though I'm hitting 70, not sure if that even counts as fast. In front of her stood a high-speed rail station, remote enough that hardly anyone bothered coming out this way to catch a train. But the scenery here was decent, so whenever something was bothering her, Hi Sister liked to come sit alone and clear her head. It always seemed to work. Shenfei, you absolute snake. Good thing this place always cheers me up, or I'd genuinely cry myself to pieces over you. After 10 or so minutes, feeling considerably calmer, Hi Sister got up to ride home. But right then, a young man, maybe 27 or 28, rushed up to her, visibly desperate. "Miss, I'm in the middle of an emergency, could I possibly borrow your motorcycle, just for a minute?" Caught off guard, Hi Sister immediately tensed with suspicion. "What could you possibly need my bike for?" The young man turned to glance back at the station behind him, and a wave of raw anguish crossed his face. "My girlfriend of 7 years just broke up with me. But she said, if I can catch up to the train she's on right now, there might still be a chance for us. So please, miss, I'm begging you, just let me try, with your bike. Don't worry, if I damage it, I'll sell everything I own to pay you back." He looked up, staring straight at her, his eyes brimming with desperate pleading, and beneath that, a flicker of raw defiance. Hearing all that, Hi Sister just stared, dumbfounded. Did I hear that right? You want to chase down a high-speed train on a motorcycle? Do you have any idea how fast those things go? It's not that I won't lend it to you, it's that there's no possible way you'd catch it. Hi Sister rode the bullet train often enough to know exactly how terrifying its speed was, routinely breaking 300 kilometers per hour. How could any motorcycle possibly match that? And even in some fantasy world where it could, a train's motion had nothing in common with a motorcycle's. Even at just 70, she'd felt like her soul was trailing 3 steps behind her body. Push a bike to 300 kilometers an hour and best case, you'd walk away covered in road dust, worst case, you'd end up in a box of ashes. Miss, you ever heard the saying, even knowing it's impossible, I just have to try? I'm afraid if I let this moment slip by, it's gone forever. Just let 7 years of love burn one last time in the wind. Tears welled in his eyes as he said it, and Hi Sister froze completely in place. She'd never really been in love herself, had no idea what 7 years of devotion even felt like, but in that moment, this stranger's desperation genuinely moved her. She held out the key and pressed it into his hand, a small smile breaking across her face. "Go get her." He took the key, nodding firmly, just as a gust of wind swept past, the train pulling out of the station. He whipped his head around to see the train already hundreds of meters off in the blink of an eye, and hurriedly called back to her. "Miss, words can't repay this. She's on that train, I have to go after her." With that, he strode to the bike, strapped on the helmet, and fired up the engine. The next instant, a sonic crack tore through the air, the gust alone whipped Hi Sister's hair into chaos. She stared after her own bike, now practically launched like a rocket, utterly stunned. Why does it feel completely different from when I rode it? She watched, dumbstruck, as the bike shrank rapidly into the distance, then turned to look at the bullet train now at full speed alongside it, her pupils contracting sharply. By her rough estimate, the train had to be running at least 267 kilometers per hour, if not faster. And yet the young man on her bike was visibly closing the gap with it, second by second. On board the train, everyone who caught sight of this felt a chill shoot straight from their feet to the crown of their skull. A wave of phones being yanked out echoed through the entire carriage. Some passengers filmed the unbelievable scene. Others fired off frantic WeChat messages to loved ones, desperate to describe what they were witnessing. At the same time, plenty of them were baffled. Why would anyone ride that fast? Did this guy have a death wish? Sure, traffic on that road was sparse, but at speeds like that, one loss of control meant total wreckage, man and machine both. "Wait, everyone look, look!" Just then, a startled shout rang out. Everyone turned to look, and there was the motorcycle, the one that had vanished chasing the train, reappearing in the distance. Only this time it had stopped. Beside it, the young man knelt on one knee, gazing back toward the train with unmistakable devotion, clearly holding something up in his hand. From that distance, no one could make out exactly what it was, but plenty guessed it had to be a ring. Inside the train car, a stunned silence lasted only a moment before it shattered into a wave of gasps. That guy was riding that fast just to catch up with our train? He risked his life, pushed a motorcycle to nearly 400, just to reach one person? There must be a girl on this train, some boy out there is head over heels for. By one window, a soft-spoken girl watching the kneeling young man finally broke down in tears. She pressed a hand over her mouth as tears streamed down without end. Meanwhile, back at the station, Hi Sister had no idea any of this was happening. Ever since the young man, Zhang Ping, had ridden off with her bike, worry had etched itself across Hi Sister's face. It wasn't that she feared he'd wreck it and couldn't pay her back, she was terrified something might happen to him, given just how insanely fast he'd taken off. With both the train and Zhang Ping long gone from view, of course she was worried. "Please, don't let anything happen to you, or I'll never forgive myself for lending you that bike." Just then, the faint growl of an engine reached her ears, and she snapped her head toward the road. The moment she spotted Zhang Ping riding safely back, she finally let out a breath of relief. As he pulled up and stopped, Hi Sister rushed to console him. It's okay if you didn't catch her, at least you tried. No regrets, right? Miss, are you underestimating my skills? Then again, this bike's performance is just that ridiculous, only someone as rusty as me could possibly fail to catch a bullet train with it. Though, for what it's worth, I used to be a serious motorcycle enthusiast. Zhang Ping chuckled as he said it, and now it was Hi Sister's turn to be stunned. A bike that good couldn't possibly fail to catch a train. Wait, are you saying you actually caught her? Hi Sister asked, practically gaping. Zhang Ping nodded, beaming, then turned to glance back at the bike behind him, his eyes still swimming with sheer disbelief. At first, I figured catching a bullet train was basically impossible. But I didn't want any regrets, so I hopped on your bike, floored the throttle, slammed through the gears, and that's when I realized. At the speed this bike could hit, the bullet train, famous for its speed, started looking almost snail-slow to me. I actually thought the train must be running slow for some reason, until I glanced down at the dashboard and saw a number, 400. Convert that to kilometers per hour, and that's over 600 kilometers an hour. And I know for a fact that wasn't even this bike's top speed, because I never even opened the throttle all the way. So, miss, please, stop joking with me. With a machine like this, there's no way you couldn't catch a bullet train. Hell, you could probably catch a plane. Jing already texted me, she said she'll wait for me at the next stop. Miss, thank you. Truly, thank you so much. If it weren't for you and this bike, we might really have missed each other for good. Zhang Ping looked at Hi Sister, gratitude written across his face. Then he checked the time and winced apologetically. Miss, I'm sorry, but I need to grab a ticket for the next train and go find Jing. After another round of heartfelt thanks, he hurried off toward the station entrance, never realizing that not a single word of his thank you had actually registered with her. The moment he described what this bike had done, Hi Sister's brain had completely short-circuited. She stared blankly at the motorcycle beside her, throat bobbing as she swallowed hard. Not just catching a bullet train, catching a plane, no problem. Shen Fei. Brother Fei, just what kind of monster did you build me? I'm sorry, I was way too loud earlier. Brother Fei, you're not some scammer, you're honestly the greatest manufacturer on the face of this planet. You didn't fill the tank because you clearly blew way past budget, didn't you? 500,000 wasn't nearly enough, was it? You've been way too good to me, and you never even shortchanged me once. The bike sitting in front of her now filled Hi Sister with nothing but pure joy, a total 180 from her earlier disgust at its looks. A bike that could reunite two lovers, save a relationship from falling apart, that, to her, was the most beautiful bike in the world. 5 stars. Brother Fei, you're getting a perfect 10 from me. The whole ride home, Hi Sister couldn't stop smiling, a world apart from her mood on the way out. What she didn't know yet was that thanks to her bike, the internet was already exploding. All because the passengers on that train had uploaded every video they'd filmed straight online. Within a short window, anyone scrolling through their feed got hit with it over and over. 8 out of every 10 videos showed Zhang Ping's jaw-dropping chase after the bullet train, racing for love. Motorcycle chases bullet train shot straight to the top of the trending charts, and countless netizens found themselves moved to tears by the whole love story. In a private courtyard house in Yanjing, a well-known motorcycle influencer named Pai Yu sat in front of her camera, replaying the chase video for her live audience. Not sure if everyone caught this, but the full clip runs 9 seconds, and in that window, the bike passes 26 utility poles. According to Modu City's own urban planning records, every pair of poles along Chenghua Boulevard sits exactly 55 meters apart. 26 poles, 55 meters apart, 9 seconds. Put that together, and you get a bike moving at a terrifying 600 plus kilometers per hour. That's insane. That is genuinely insane. I've ridden for years, and I've never seen a machine this monstrous. Pai Yu couldn't stop clicking her tongue in disbelief, eyes practically glowing with hunger as she stared at the bike on screen. Sure, the footage was too blurry to make out any real detail, but to Pai Yu, with performance on that level, looks stopped mattering at all. Forget owning one, just getting to take it for a single lap would have made her whole career worth it, she thought. While Pai Yu sat lost in fantasy, the 100,000 viewers in her stream were reeling from what she just said. The chase footage alone had already hit viewers hard enough, but nobody had really grasped just how fast the bike had actually been going. Now, hearing Pai Yu break it down, over 100,000 viewers felt their scalps prickle in unison. Whoa, wait, did I hear that right? 600 plus kilometers an hour? I feel like my soul's chasing my body at just 120 in a car. This bike hit over 600? Is that guy not even afraid of dying? The Grim Reaper? I'd have loved to take him myself, but I couldn't even catch up. Honestly, that helmet he was wearing feels a little redundant at this point. All I can say is, those 9 seconds were more thrilling than my entire life put together. Take the dream bike of every rider's heart, the Kawasaki H2R, a 998 cubic centimeters engine, 310 horsepower, capable of hitting 400 kilometers an hour in 26 seconds. They call it the ground fighter jet. 400 kilometers an hour already blows past a bullet train's normal cruising speed, but that number only comes from a dedicated racetrack, smooth, flat, and engineered with exactly the right surface for a bike to grip. Only under those conditions can an H2R even reach 400. Chenghua Boulevard? Forget any of that. That road probably still has plenty of small manhole covers and cracks scattered across it. Under those conditions, hitting over 600 kilometers an hour, does everyone realize what that actually means? It means that bike's engine, drivetrain, and stability are operating on a tier above literally every brand currently on the market, otherwise a single thumb-sized pothole would have been enough to wreck a bike doing 600 and kill its rider instantly. And there's another detail nobody should overlook. That video only ran 9 seconds, but the actual chase definitely lasted far longer than that. The whole pursuit probably stretched past 2 full minutes. An H2R at full speed of 400 can't sustain a single minute before its engine risks blowing out, and this bike ran a full 2 minutes at 600 without a single hiccup. I genuinely don't have the vocabulary for this anymore. It's completely shattered everything I thought I knew about motorcycles. Calling it the undisputed king of the motorcycle world right now wouldn't be an exaggeration in the slightest. By the time Pai finished, the excitement in her eyes was impossible to hide, and her viewers were left utterly speechless. The bike they'd watched in that video had just been crowned, without question, the single most insane motorcycle on the planet. A Kawasaki H2R alone retails for 720,000 yuan, so a bike that outclasses it by who knows how many tiers had to be worth well over $1 million easily. As netizens spiraled deeper into speculation, the bike's actual owner, Hi Sister, remained blissfully unaware of any of it. She was cruising leisurely down the road, and, riding high on her good mood, she casually flipped on a live stream. Feeling great today, so I'm going live for half an hour. The moment her cheerful voice hit the stream, chat sat frozen for an instant before erupting like a tidal wave. Wait, did I hear that right? Feeling great? Did the old lady get her head slammed in a door? She just got scammed blind by that con artist brother Faye and now she's in a good mood? Damn it, I refuse to accept this. Absolutely refuse. She's supposed to be devastated, crying her eyes out. I literally came here to watch her cry. Guys, is there any chance the old lady's actually fallen for brother Faye? Like, getting scammed by someone you love just feels like happiness to her? The chat spiraled further and further into absurdity. Riding along, Hi Sister glanced idly at the comments, and, of all the luck, landed right on those exact messages. Her eyelid gave an involuntary twitch. Hey now, what's that supposed to mean? Do I really seem that desperate for a man? Before Hi Sister could even finish, she let out a sudden shriek, and viewers watched, horrified, as she and the bike both went down hard on the roadside. The second the stream cut back, everyone froze. A crash. She'd crashed. Sure enough, there she was, bike and rider both sprawled on the shoulder of the road. Just ahead of her, off to the left, a sleek Ferrari F90 rolled to a slow stop. The Ferrari's door swung open, and out stepped a man dressed sharply, if a little effeminately. He didn't even glance at Hi Sister lying on the ground. Instead he circled his multi-million yuan supercar for a full lap first. Only then did he turn, expression souring, to glare at her. Sell your house. His sudden words left Hi Sister momentarily stunned. Forcing herself up through the pain, she snapped back, utterly wronged. It was clearly you who cut across without warning. The man let out a hollow, mocking laugh, an absurd sneer crossing his pale face. Are you kidding me right now? It's obviously you who wasn't watching the road. Honestly, you women on motorcycles, do you have any idea how much it costs to fix the scratch your junk bike just left on my car? The man crossed his arms, looking down his nose at her. Hi Sister realized, with a sinking feeling, that she'd still been live streaming this whole time, and once the traffic police showed up, she'd probably have to pay this Li Jiajin something regardless. Gritting her teeth, she figured, so be it. Fine, I'll cover your car's damages. But you're covering mine too. As she spoke, she turned to look at the bike I'd built her. The collision hadn't just left a scratch on Li Jiajin's Ferrari, her bike's shell had taken serious damage too. Honestly, if that shell hadn't absorbed most of the impact, her leg would have been a lot worse off than one shallow cut. Fine, we'll do it your way. My time is precious, and I've got no interest in wasting more of it arguing with you. Hand over 5 million. As for your bike, 3,000 ought to more than cover it. Li Jiajin waved a dismissive hand, and Hi Sister just stood there, frozen solid. F5 million? Sir, are you running a robbery here? Li Jiajin looked at her exaggerated expression and curled his lip again. Is 5 million really that much money to you? If you can't afford it, maybe take a good look at your life choices, whether you've actually worked hard these past years, whether your paycheck's ever gone up. Don't wait until money's on the line to realize you're worthless. Forget it, I'm done wasting words on you. I'll just call the police and let them sort it out. As he said it, he reached for his phone, and Hi Sister, gritting her teeth, cut in. Fine, 5 million, sure, why not, it's not like I've never seen a supercar before. Even a full repaint and repair on that thing wouldn't run more than 200,000, tops. I'll pay you that. But you're fixing my bike too. And to be clear, I don't want your money. I just want my bike restored exactly the way it was. As she finished, a flicker of real heartbreak crossed her face. She'd genuinely fallen in love with the bike Shenfei had built her, and now, seeing its shell dented and warped, of course it hurt. Anywhere on this planet, my Ferrari F90 is one of a kind, not to mention it carries the personal touch of Mr. Manzoni himself. And you want me to find someone to repair that eyesore of yours? I don't have that kind of time to waste. What I make in 1 hour could buy who knows how many of your junk bikes. Here, 100,000 yuan. That's more than enough to cover that thing. Honestly, it's so ugly it's practically an assault on my eyes. Now that I've paid for it, I might as well deal with it myself. Smash it. Li Jiazhen tossed a bank card onto the ground and turned toward a hulking man standing off to the side, someone none of the viewers had even noticed getting out of the car with him. The burly bodyguard, apparently named rolled his shoulders at the command and started toward Hi Sister's motorcycle, scooping up a brick off the ground along the way. It was obvious he meant to follow orders and smash the bike to pieces. Watching him approach with that brick, Hi Sister would be lying if she said she wasn't scared, but there was no way she'd just stand there and watch her beloved bike get destroyed. Summoning her courage, she threw herself in front of the man, who didn't even spare her a glance, just shoved her aside without slowing down. The brick was already rising over his head, about to come crashing down on the bike. And tears spilled down Hi Sister's face in a desperate rush. But just as the brick was about to make contact, a heavy thud rang out instead. Hi Sister looked up, tear-streaked face still frozen in shock. And froze all over again. Several foreign men in sharp suits had appeared out of nowhere and shoved Li Jiazhen's bodyguard back a solid 7 or 8 meters. Before she could process it, a silver-haired foreign elder came sprinting forward. He threw himself down beside her bike, face crumpling into anguish. Oh God, who did this? Who did this? I swear on Jesus, I curse them, I curse whoever did this, and to everyone's shock, the old man actually started wiping away tears. This left not just Hi Sister stunned, but Li Jiazhen's brow furrowed too. Faced with the old man and his suited entourage, though, Li Jiazhen suddenly found himself far less brazen. Who are you people? Li Jiazhen's voice echoed uncertainly through the scene. The old foreigner didn't even spare him a glance, muttering to himself before whirling excitedly toward Hi Sister. Honorable Miss, I am Mud, head of Chrysler Group's Dragon Nation Regional Division. Just 20 minutes ago, our intelligence department located a Mr. Zhang Ping, and after speaking with him, we learned that this remarkable motorcycle, the one that broke 600 kilometers per hour, belongs to you. On behalf of Chrysler Group, allow me to greet you properly, and I sincerely hope you'll consider selling this magnificent machine to us. Rest assured, we will absolutely offer you a price you'll find more than satisfactory. The old man's shining eyes gave Hi Sister genuine chills, and hearing him speak fluent Chinese only left her more dumbfounded. As for the countless viewers watching, after a beat of stunned silence, chat exploded. Wait, hold on, did I hear that right? This foreigner's saying the bike that chased down the bullet train, the one every influencer's been raving about, basically already a legend in the motorcycle world, was built by Brother Fei this whole time? Wasn't everyone saying this was some corporate marketing stunt? Babe, slap me right now, I think I'm hallucinating watching this stream. While Hi Sister remained frozen in disbelief, Mud turned, expression flat, toward Li Jiazhen. With a slight wave of his hand, the suited men beside him began advancing straight toward Li Jiazhen. Throat bobbing, Li Jiazhen swallowed hard, voice stuttering. What are you doing? This is a country of law, assaulting someone is a crime. Before Li Jiazhen could even finish, a heavy thud rang out, the foreign men weren't coming for him at all. They strode straight past him and pulled out expandable batons, bringing them down on his multi-million yuan Ferrari. Then another blow landed, and another, metal crunching and shrieking as they went. In under a few seconds, Li Jiazhen's once magnificent Ferrari had been smashed into a mangled wreck. Watching it happen, Li Jiazhen's eye twitched violently, but with those foreign enforcers looming, he didn't dare utter a single word. Off to the side, Hi Sister had finally snapped out of her own daze. Staring at the surreal scene in front of her, she blurted out urgently, Uncle Mud, I never agreed to sell you the bike. Hi Sister assumed Mud was simply standing up for her, but he slowly shook his head. My honorable miss, this has nothing to do with whether you sell it to me. This man damaged a gift bestowed upon humanity by God itself, and I fully intend to make him pay for it. Such a perfect machine, and now, thanks to this fool, it bears a flaw. Shaking his head at Hi Sister, Mud turned back to Li Jiazhen, his expression turning ice cold. Your car is totaled now. Chrysler Group will compensate you with an identical replacement in due course. But for the damage you've done to this motorcycle, Chrysler Group will personally represent this honorable miss and pursue full legal action against you. If the shell can be restored to its original condition, fine. If not, you will face the harshest legal consequences available. Our entire legal department will treat this as our top priority moving forward. And before that, allow me one word of warning. This bike's shell is directly tied to its terrifying stability. Nowhere on this planet has this kind of technology ever existed before. Mude's words rang out like a verdict already sealed, and Li Jiajin had gone completely pale. Just picturing himself facing off against the entire legal department of a multinational conglomerate was enough to make him tremble uncontrollably. As for the countless viewers watching, Mude's words finally made everything click, why a regional director of that stature would personally step in to defend Hi Sister. When you got down to it, the real reason behind all of this was the bike Shenfei had built. Uncle Mude, thank you so much. But I really can't sell you this bike, though you're welcome to place an order with Brother Fei yourself. Did you know, Shenfei, Brother Fei, is the one who built this bike for me? The moment she said his name, Hi Sister's expression melted into something dreamy-eyed, and Mude let out a bitter, disbelieving laugh. Now that we've located Mr. Zhangping, we've also confirmed exactly where this motorcycle truly came from. We wasted no time, we've already placed an order with Mr. Shenfei, and formally extended a proposal for partnership. But Mr. Shenfei's response to our proposal was blunt, not interested. Mr. Shenfei only sells finished products, never patents. That said, if we ever manage to reverse engineer his motorcycle technology ourselves, he's fine with us using it, provided we pay a licensing fee. Which is exactly why we're so desperate to move forward. So here's what I propose, my honorable miss. On behalf of the group, allow me to lease this extraordinary machine from you for a short while, nothing lengthy, 3 days will do. After that, I'll return it to you exactly as it is now. Mude looked at Hi Sister with hopeful eyes, and to his relief, she didn't refuse. A 3-day loan was something she could live with. As for the millions of viewers watching, chat exploded all over again. This is my idol right here. Brother Fei is way too cool for this. Only sells the product, never the patent. Not even a giant like Chrysler could shake him. I'm already imagining whatever number Brother Fei quoted them was probably astronomical. No kidding. Old man Mude just casually smashed a 10 million yuan car. Whatever price he offered Brother Fei has to be at least 9 figures. All I can say is, whatever technology's baked into that bike, its value is basically incalculable at this point. Man, Brother Fei's great and all, but he's just got way too many orders. When's it gonna be my turn? Viewers kept the debate going non-stop across the platform, while the sharper ones had already migrated straight to my own stream. Sure, as always, my stream only existed to take orders, I never actually went live on camera. But right now, the number of viewers flooding into my chat had absolutely shattered every previous record. 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, the momentum kept climbing until it peaked around 8 million before finally slowing down. Meanwhile, my order queue had swelled past 800,000 entries, and that number kept climbing at an absurd pace. What mattered most, though, was that these orders were priced through the roof. The top 10 orders currently sitting in queue all started above 1 million yuan, and every single one was for a custom motorcycle. The top 5 came straight from major motorcycle manufacturers, each offering upward of 3 million yuan. Clearly they all wanted the same thing Chrysler did, get their hands on one of my bikes to reverse engineer the technology inside. To their disappointment, though, I hadn't accepted a single one yet. Countless fans and manufacturers alike sat waiting for me to pick an order, but hours passed, and I still hadn't moved a muscle. Seeing as I clearly wasn't paying attention to any of it, plenty of impatient enthusiasts started flooding Chrysler's official website instead. After all, right now Chrysler was the only company actually holding one of my bikes, and even if I did take a new order, it'd only be one. But if Chrysler managed some kind of breakthrough, everything would change completely. Maybe, in the not-so-distant future, everyone could own their very own Shenfei motorcycle. Old Chrysler, have you cracked Brother Fei's tech yet? We're all waiting on you to build it. If you can produce an exact replica, we'll all buy from you. Yeah, old Chrysler, our dream of owning one of these things is entirely riding on you. Kawasaki, if Chrysler can't get it done, hand the bike over to us to study. Old Schwan from Lingmu Motorcycles has a point, swap teams if you can't cut it. Don't just sit there hogging the toilet without producing anything. Chrysler's official comments section had turned into pure chaos, not just ordinary enthusiasts pushing for updates, but several major manufacturers piling on the pressure too. Under that kind of heat, Chrysler's official site issued a response in short order. After running Mr. Shenfei's motorcycle through a comprehensive battery of tests, we regret to inform our valued fans and followers of the following. First, certain technologies embedded in this vehicle remain, for now, entirely beyond our reach. Our best estimate puts a breakthrough at a minimum of 3 years out. Second, our testing revealed the bike's true top speed isn't the reported 600+ km/h, it's actually capable of reaching 798, nearly 800 kilometers per hour. And this is despite the fact that Mr. Shenfei clearly wasn't using premium materials throughout. He appears to have deliberately economized on several components. Had he not held back, we believe the top speed could have gone even higher without difficulty. Finally, the Chrysler Group's board has unanimously decided to extend Mr. Shenfei an open-ended invitation for partnership. He already represents the future, the very hope, of the motorcycle industry, and it will only grow more brilliant because of him. Chrysler's announcement was absolutely packed with revelations, and the moment it dropped, it landed like a massive boulder thrown into a still lake, sending shockwaves rippling outward. It wasn't just ordinary netizens left stunned, every major motorcycle manufacturer went dead silent too. I'm numb. Genuinely numb. 600 wasn't even the top speed, and 800 came easy. What exactly is Brother Fei even building here? That's not a motorcycle, that's a ground-based fighter jet. The motorcycle world will only shine brighter because of him. Remember, this is a publicly traded conglomerate saying this about Brother Fei. No wonder he was fine letting them study it freely and even offered a discount on licensing fees. Feels like Brother Fei already knew from the start Chrysler wasn't going to figure anything out. Am I the only one who caught the phrase, deliberately economized on materials? Called it, Brother Fei scammed the old lady again after all. Sure, call it economizing if you want to be polite, the honest word is cutting corners. Brother Fei truly lives up to his title as king of scammers. Same as always, you can trust his technology completely, but never, ever try to analyze his character too closely. I'm losing it. I'm just dying to know how much Brother Fei actually made off these last 2 orders. The suspense is killing me. The comments kept pouring in without pause, but there was no denying it. Chrysler's announcement had catapulted Shenfei and his godlike crafting shop to an entirely unmatched level of fame. Everyone finally understood, godlike crafting shop, we fulfill every fantasy, wasn't some cringy slogan I'd cooked up. It was simply the plain truth. In short order, my shop's orders surged into another wave of explosive growth. Even viewers who couldn't care less about motorcycles finally let their imaginations run wild, sending in all kinds of wild, unconventional order requests. Out in the workshop on the edge of the city, I genuinely hadn't been keeping tabs on any of the online chaos. The moment I learned Hi Sister's bike had blown up the entire internet, I immediately used the system to buy a wave of new equipment, setting it all up in the factory space behind my shop. I understood perfectly well the saying about fame bringing trouble. With this much attention on me now, sooner or later someone was bound to expose my little shop, and if anyone ever discovered it was just an empty shell, that would be a real problem. Fortunately, there was a massive stretch of factory space behind my shop, so I bought a wave of equipment through the system store and moved it straight in. At a glance, the place finally looked like a real manufacturing shop, though the equipment ate through nearly every yuan I'd earned from those last 2 orders. My account balance had dropped to under 2,000 yuan. I brushed the dust off my hands from setting up the factory and sat back down at my computer, ready to take on my 3rd order. I still had a long way to go before hitting the 10 million points needed for my next system upgrade. But the second I opened my stream, I caught sight of the tags under my shop's profile, and my eyelid gave an involuntary twitch. Tech God, 1,080,000 likes. Snail Efficiency, 960,000 likes. Never Streams Deadbeat Host, 740,000 likes. I could live with all of those. But, King of Scammers, 5,780,000 likes? What in the world was that about? Come on, I just economized a tiny bit on cost, that's all. You people can't just fixate on the materials and ignore everything else, I muttered under my breath. Whatever, fine, scammer it is. The system practically forced my hand anyway. Besides, they'd only guessed I was profiting, there was no way they'd ever figure out exactly how much. I felt fairly confident about that. But right then, a system notification left me utterly speechless. Ding! Periodic financial report now generating. Estimated completion within 1 week. Upon completion, the system will automatically publish the report on the host's live stream. The system's gentle voice echoed through my mind, and in that moment, it had never sounded colder. After a solid 10 seconds of stunned silence, I finally exploded, face dark as thunder. System, are you serious right now? This is a tiny little crafting shop, not some publicly traded conglomerate. What exactly is there to publish a financial report on? You're literally the one who made me scam people in the first place. And now you're twisting the knife on me? Do you even have a soul? Or is it that you think I've lived too long, and you're hoping some customer finally does me in? My chest heaved with fury, and the killing intent in my eyes felt almost solid enough to touch. A shame the system had no body I could actually get my hands on, or I'd have given it a proper send-off myself. Right now, viewers were still just speculating how much I'd scammed people out of. Once that financial report dropped, I figured whether King of Scammers stuck as a real title or not wouldn't even matter anymore. My real fear was that one day someone would leak my shop's actual address, and I'd end up with a mountain of angry customers stacked at my door. Fuming, I let out an odd, strangled noise, and the system, after that one notification, went completely silent. Not a single response to my raging. I took a deep breath, realizing there was no point arguing further with the system. The thing clearly just enjoyed toying with me. I straightened back up in front of my computer. Still scowling, I went back to sorting through orders, though scanning the dazzling array of high-priced requests did lighten my mood considerably. Sure, after Chrysler announced they couldn't crack my motorcycle tech anytime soon, the other manufacturers had given up trying to outbid each other, but the top offers were still sitting between 3 and 3.5 million yuan. At that rate, a few more motorcycle orders and I'd easily hit the 10 million points I needed to push the system into stage 3. Still, as important as leveling up was, I figured savoring the challenge and growth along the way mattered just as much, if not more. Otherwise, once the system hit stage 3, or even 4, 5, 6, sure, the capabilities would keep exploding, but I might end up unable to keep pace with it myself. With that thought, I paused what I was doing, deciding to wait for the right order to come along, or, failing that, just grab whichever one carried the highest price tag before calling it a night. But right then, a new order suddenly appeared in my queue, and shot straight to the top spot, blowing past the previous leader, a 3.5 million yuan motorcycle order that had held first place until now. Caught off guard, I clicked into the order's details. At first glance, my brow furrowed slightly, but reading it a second time, then a third, my eyes started lighting up. This one. The instant I accepted the new order, the internet exploded all over again. On the Tiger Kill streaming platform, in the shop management stream where millions of viewers had gathered, everyone watched what I'd just accepted with their jaws on the floor. Dammy technology? No way, that's actually Dammy tech. Has Brother Fei's name already reached Lei Busi himself? Wait, hold on, is this really the Dammy founded by Lei Busi? I could identify that price with my eyes closed. That's Chairman Lei's offer, for sure. Man, Chairman Lei's lost his mind. 9.99 million? How much is Brother Fei about to scam out of him? And Brother Fei only sells products, never patents. 9.99 million for a single vehicle? That's outrageously overpriced. I keep feeling like this scammer's been fishing this whole time, and now he's finally landed the big one, Lei Busi himself. Huh, guess he's the type to retire once he hits 10 million? If that's the case, this one order alone could let Brother Fei retire for good. Either way, I'm pretty sure our beloved Chairman Lei is about to get absolutely fleeced. A motorcycle and a car are two completely different beasts, especially a new energy vehicle. The tech involved is insane, way beyond what any one person could pull off alone. Right, funny how you all said the exact same thing when Brother Fei built Hi Sister's motorcycle. Computers and motorcycles are totally different, you said. And look how that turned out. Okay, enough arguing, none of this back and forth is getting us anywhere. What's actually going through Lei Busi's head right now? Why not just go ask Dammy directly? The millions of viewers in my stream, having gone in circles for a while, gradually drained out toward Dammy's official channels instead, flooding the comments there. Meanwhile, over at Dammy Group's headquarters tower in Yanjing, the board of directors had already gathered, and the room had turned into an absolute mess. All because of the order Lei Busi had just placed with me. What most netizens didn't realize yet was that Lei Busi had made this call entirely on his own, without ever getting the board's approval. As word of it spread rapidly online, the board members were already slamming their fists on the table at Lei Busi. Chairman Lei, you owe us a real explanation for this. We've all heard of this Shen Fei. He's clearly talented, sure, but that talent's proven itself with computers and motorcycles. Our Dammy automotive division has been in development for years now, and we've already sunk tens of billions into it without a single success. And now you're handing off a 10 million yuan contract to some small-time live stream shop owner? Isn't this reckless in the extreme? Lin Jiancheng, Dammy's vice chairman and head of the Dammy automotive division, said it with his brow tightly furrowed, and that word, reckless, was nothing short of a direct challenge to Lei Busi's authority. The rest of the board barely reacted, unsurprised by any of it. Deep down, they all knew the truth. While Lei Busi was still, in the public eye, Dammy Group's unquestioned figurehead. Over the past 2 years, the faction led by Lin Jiancheng had been steadily hollowing out his real power, especially since Lin Jiancheng took over as head of Dammy Automotive R&D a year ago, a shift that had only accelerated since. And now, without ever bringing it to the board, Lei Busi had gone and placed an order for a new energy vehicle on his own, which, to Lin Jiancheng, felt like nothing less than a blade aimed straight at him. Everyone sharp enough in that room could already see exactly why he was so worked up. The board members exchanged glances before all turning, in unison, toward Lei Busi seated at the head of the table, waiting to see how he'd handle Lin Jiancheng's challenge. None of them had picked a side yet in this internal power struggle brewing inside Dammy. By rights, given everything Lei Busi had accomplished over the years and his standing within the company, there was no logical reason not to back him. But Lin Jiancheng was no simple opponent either. Word was he had serious backing from powerful figures in Yanjing, the kind of family whose ancestors had made major contributions to national progress in earlier eras. With things escalating to this point, everyone in that room could sense a decisive showdown brewing. The only question left was, would Lei Busi manage to push Lin Jiancheng out and reclaim full control of Dami Group, or would Lin Jiancheng come out ahead and crush Lei Busi for good? It's just 10 million yuan of discretionary spending. Are you telling me I need to file a report with you before I'm allowed to spend my own money? Facing Lin Jiancheng's accusation, Lei Busi just smiled, breezy and unbothered. The board only needs to convene for major expenditures, and even then, that threshold sits at several billion yuan minimum. 10 million is pocket change. I genuinely didn't feel any need to run it past you or the board. Lin Jiancheng looked up at Lei Busi, and a wave of grief mixed with fury washed over his face. Pressing his lips together, he said, voice heavy, Chairman Lei, 10 million is nothing, sure, but do you have any idea the kind of impact this has had on Dami as a whole? Do you honestly not understand that? Within 15 minutes of your order with this Shenfei getting out, Dami's Hong Kong stock price already started swinging. Right now, our shareholders and investors are questioning the very strength of this company. A publicly traded firm's flagship new energy vehicle division, and you're outsourcing it to the owner of some tiny crafting shop. Keep this up and you could genuinely bring the entire Dami group crashing down. I'm formally proposing we terminate this partnership with Shenfei immediately, and that you personally step forward to announce this was all a simple misunderstanding, while simultaneously increasing our investment in Dami Automotive, so our shareholders can see this company's real commitment to the new energy sector. Lin Jiancheng's expression shifted from grave to visibly heated, his speech growing more and more impassioned, as though he were the only one in that room who genuinely cared about the company's future. Lei Busi just listened, then let out a laugh, his smile somehow even brighter than before. Everyone, take a good look. Director Lin's acting chops are genuinely impressive. Honestly, Director Lin, you should consider a career in film, I guarantee you'd walk away with Best Actor. Lei Busi kept smiling the whole time, but every word landed like an open-handed slap straight across Lin Jiancheng's face. The conference room fell into dead silence in an instant. Several board members couldn't help but shudder, as if only now truly remembering exactly who they were sitting across from. Lei Busi, at the absolute peak of his career, had once built an empire from a low of just 4 billion yuan, back when certain rival tycoons of his era were still scraping by in some backwater corner shop. And every flicker of expression crossing those board members' faces didn't escape Lin Jiancheng's notice for a second. As Lei Busi's words kept echoing in his ears, Lin Jiancheng's face had darkened to its absolute limit. Chairman Lei, what exactly are you implying? Are you insulting me? Lin Jiancheng's low voice echoed through the conference room. Lei Busi slowly let the smile fade from his face. You're saying my decision caused Dami's stock price to swing. Then let me ask you this, does endlessly pouring money into Dami Automotive with absolutely nothing to show for it keep that stock price steady instead? It's been a full year, Lin Jiancheng. I have zero patience left. You say I'm insulting you? Aren't you the one humiliating yourself here? Lei Busi stared at Lin Jiancheng with ice in his eyes, nothing like his usual easygoing self, a coldness that felt almost unrecognizable. Hearing that, Lin Jiancheng fell silent. A full several seconds passed before Lin Jiancheng slowly lifted his head. Since Chairman Lei has taken it this far, then there's nothing left for me to say. I want to sign a wager with you. 3 days. Give me 3 days. If I fail to lead Dami Automotive to complete our very first vehicle, the S7, then I will hand over my position as head of Dami Automotive entirely. But if I succeed, you resign as executive director. Chairman Lei, do you have the nerve to accept? The moment Lin Jiancheng's words landed, the conference room erupted into a wave of murmurs. The board members had guessed the two of them might go big today, but none had expected it to escalate quite this far. Director Lin, think this through. Don't be rash, Chairman Lei, Director Lin's just venting, don't take it to heart. Oh, come on, both of you, let's all just calm down and talk this over with some tea. Slowly, the other board members chimed in one after another, trying to talk both Lin Jiancheng and Lei Busi down. But Lin Jiancheng ignored every voice around him, staring straight at Lei Busi with the look of a man ready to settle things once and for all. Meeting that razor-sharp glare head-on, Lei Busi, oddly enough, only grew calmer. He leaned back into his chair, then casually tossed a document onto the table. Since we're wagering anyway, let's make it worth something. I'll issue a formal statement as Dami's executive director. 3 days from now, at Beishan Plaza, we'll hold Dami Automotive's unveiling. You bring the S7. I'll bring the car Shenfei delivers to me. And then we'll see who actually wins. If you win, I'll not only hand over my position as executive director, I'll offload every share of Dami stock I own. But if you lose, I never want to see you at Dami again. You'll be required to liquidate every last share you hold too. Lei Busi's voice wasn't loud, but his words hit everyone in that room like thunderclaps. Nobody had imagined he'd already drafted a formal wager beforehand. As the dozen-plus board members snapped out of their shock, they all turned, in perfect unison, to stare at Lei Busi, thoroughly convinced he'd lost his mind. Never in their wildest imagination had they pictured Lei Busi standing as an outsider, personally challenging the very company he'd built with his own hands. What they could understand, though, was that whatever this move cost him personally, good or bad, it was undeniably the best possible outcome for Dami itself, because no matter who won this wager, Lin Jianqing or Lei Busi, Dami as a whole would come out ahead. The internal power struggle between the two would quietly resolve itself this way, invisibly, without ever causing any real damage. Most people out there wouldn't even know it had happened at all. In that moment, at least, Lei Busi had thoroughly won them over on pure character alone. But when it came to raw self-interest, every board member in that room would eventually side with Lin Jianqing, because from the moment Lei Busi proposed this wager, not a single director believed he could actually win. 10 million yuan, 3 days, no matter how impressive Shenfei supposedly was. The outside world had already elevated him to near mythical status, but none of them believed he could actually build a new energy vehicle capable of winning everyone over. Chairman Lei, why put yourself through this? We disagree on certain things, sure, and I'll admit I want the executive director's seat for myself, but I never once wanted to push you out entirely. Lin Jianqing's gaze drifted between Lei Busi and the wager document sitting on the table, hesitation flickering across his face. Lei Busi's move had genuinely shaken him. From his very first day at Dami, Lin Jianqing had known Lei Busi was a bone too tough to crack, even with the powerful backing he carried from Yanjing. It had left Lei Busi deeply wary of him. All these years at Dami, he'd been quietly suppressed by Lei Busi at every turn, watching peers who joined major firms around the same time settle comfortably into core leadership roles, while he alone kept getting pushed to the margins. And now, this wager, in Lin Jianqing's eyes, looked like nothing less than Lei Busi, holding every advantage, suddenly waving a white flag and surrendering outright, something he genuinely couldn't wrap his head around. Right now, society is developing at breakneck speed. The next great wave is looming somewhere just out of sight, maybe 5 years off, maybe just 3. I don't want you or me standing in the way of Dami's future. 100 years from now, I want Dami to still be standing at the very front edge of this era. So all of this was always coming, one way or another. This is just happening a little sooner than expected. Facing Lin Jianqing's unusually candid confession, Lei Busi eased off entirely, and the tension in the room seemed to evaporate in an instant. Lin Jianqing looked, truly looked, at Lei Busi, holding his silence for a solid 10 seconds or more, before bowing slightly, his voice suddenly full of genuine respect. Chairman Lei, I'm not your equal. But rest assured, with Dami in my hands, I will absolutely carry it further than you ever imagined. With that, Lin Jianqing stood, picked up the wager document, and signed his name without a moment's hesitation. He rose to his feet, his expression settling back into its usual coolness. Chairman Lei, I truly respect you, but this time, there's no way you're winning. 2 hours before you placed that order with Shenfei, our Dami automotive team had already achieved a breakthrough. 3 days from now, Dami will claim the throne of the entire new energy vehicle industry. I hope you'll be watching. With that, Lin Jianqing turned and walked out of the conference room. The rest of the board, momentarily stunned, gradually rose and filed out as well. Before long, the vast conference room held only Lei Busi. A soft creak of a chair sliding echoed through the room as Lei Busi walked past the table toward the floor-to-ceiling windows. From up here, looking down, the entire glittering city spread out beneath him. After staring out for a long moment, Lei Busi finally murmured to himself. Am I really going to lose? He's the most impressive young man I've come across in years. Something about him feels strangely familiar, like looking at myself, back in the day. But I know he's already far more capable than I ever was at his age. While Lei Busi bet everything on Shenfei, back in my workshop on the edge of the city, I'd already stepped into the system's super laboratory. Viewers knew Lei Busi had placed an order with me, and they knew it was for a new energy vehicle, but the actual details of that order were something only I knew. Standing there, deep inside the primeval forest simulated within the super laboratory, I thought back on the sprawling 1,000-word order Lei Busi had sent me, and couldn't help pressing my lips together. The very first line of that order told me not to feel any pressure. He understood full well that expecting me to build a truly eye-catching new energy vehicle in just 3 days was an unreasonable ask. Even if I failed, Lei Busi promised he wouldn't ask for his money back, nor would he ever announce my failure publicly. Honestly, Lei Busi lived up to his reputation. The moment I read those lines, I'd already decided I wanted this order. And once I finished reading his full vision for the vehicle, I'd made up my mind completely. Gear balance shafts, composite material production costs, batteries, motors, electronic control systems, and above all, an intelligent autonomous driving system. Chairman Lei, you really don't hold back with your requests. Genuinely challenging. Still, in my eyes, good just wasn't good enough. Chairman Lei, get ready, I'm about to hand you quite the gift. With that resolve, I opened up the systems store and started picking out the materials I'd need to build this new energy vehicle. As much as I respected this brilliant entrepreneur, I had no intention of holding back. There was one more reason I'd taken this order that I hadn't mentioned yet, 9.99 million yuan. If I managed my resources well enough, saving up the right amount could let me unlock the system stage 3 immediately. That temptation alone was simply too strong to resist. After roughly half an hour of careful selection, I finally finished gathering every material I'd need for this build. Total cost, 98,000 yuan. After paying out of the 9.99 million Lei Busi had wired me, I still had a full 9,892,000 left. Combined with the points I'd already earned from High Sister's order, and now had more than enough to unlock stage 3, except actually activating it would have to wait until after this order was complete. Otherwise, if I awakened stage 3's top-tier military manufacturing capabilities mid-build, I could have poured that into Lei Busi's vehicle. For now, though, I'd have to rely purely on my own imagination. And there was one more crucial detail. Even though Lei Busi wouldn't reclaim his payment if I failed, a failed experiment would still get flagged by the system as a failure. Meaning even if I kept the money, I'd walk away with 0 points toward my next upgrade. Looked like I really needed to bring my best, and thankfully, time should be just enough. I muttered a few words to myself, then poured every ounce of my focus into building this vehicle. While I buried myself in work day and night inside the super laboratory, the outside world had no idea it was already exploding with chaos. All of it, naturally, thanks to the announcement Dami Group had just dropped. 3 days from now, at Beishan Plaza, Dami Automotive would let everyone witness a miracle unfold together. Dami, born for passion. Once word spread that Lei Busi had placed an order with me, countless netizens had already flocked to Dami's official platform. Most just wanted to know what exactly was going through Lei Busi's head, but instead, Dami's official channel dropped a bombshell announcement of its own. Wait, did I open the wrong page? This isn't some big-budget sci-fi movie set, right? I figured Chairman Lei just wanted a fun little car from Brother Fei, but he's going all in. 3 days, just 3 days. You call this witnessing a miracle? That's a bold way to phrase it. I mean, if Dami's already announced it this officially, guess we'll just wait and see. 3 days from now, we find out if it's a mule or a real racehorse. Countless netizens debated back and forth, apparently assuming without question that whatever unveiled at Beishan Plaza in 3 days would be the very car Lei Busi had ordered from me. As for the actual internal wager between Lei Busi and Lin Jiancheng, nobody outside that boardroom had any idea it existed. This was exactly the outcome Lei Busi wanted, because regardless of whether, 3 days from now, I actually managed to complete the car, Dami Group as a whole would come out ahead either way. And thanks to my involvement, public interest in Dami's upcoming new energy vehicle reveal had already reached a fever pitch. Meanwhile, back at my workshop on the city's edge, I remained completely oblivious to any of it, throwing myself entirely into building the car in front of me. Thanks to my earlier experience with the motorcycle, constructing the vehicle's frame turned out to be no real challenge. The two crafts, after all, shared plenty in common. And with the system's era-defying automated equipment backing me up, dialing every material to the exact specifications I wanted took virtually no effort at all. So inside the super laboratory, it took me roughly 10 days total, which amounted to barely half a day passing outside, to finish a preliminary build of the frame along with every core component assembly. That kind of speed would have left even the world's most elite automotive engineers utterly speechless, especially considering I designed the whole thing from scratch, with no template to work from, guided purely by my own vision of what a car's ideal functionality should look like. Once the initial build was finished, next came the finer details, namely, the 3 most critical components of any new energy vehicle: the battery, the motor, and the electronic control system. These 3 would ultimately decide how well the finished car actually performed. Compared to the first phase, this part demanded far more of my time, a solid 20+ days, before I finally nailed everything down. All told, I'd now spent a full month inside the super laboratory. And sitting right in front of me now was a fully assembled new energy vehicle. All it needed now was a full charge, and it could tear down any road immediately. But I knew that if I ended the experiment right here, the system almost certainly wouldn't give me a passing grade, meaning it would flag this entire attempt as an outright failure, because out of everything Le Bussi had asked for in his order, I'd only completed about half. Second, the car sitting in front of me right now was, at best, a solidly pleasant vehicle to drive, nowhere close to a true top-tier new energy machine. It was still missing the single most critical selling point of the entire industry, an intelligent autonomous driving system. I took a deep breath. I knew the real difficulty of this entire experiment was only just beginning. After resetting my focus and feeling my mind sharp and ready again, I threw myself headfirst into building the driving system. Time slipped through my fingers like grains of sand, and just like that, the full 3 days had passed. On the morning of the third day, right after breakfast hour, the massive plaza at the foot of Beishan Mountain was already flooded with crowds. Banners bearing the 4 bold characters Dami Group hung high overhead, fluttering in the wind, visible from hundreds of meters away. And it wasn't just ordinary people captivated by this 3-day-long build-up to Dami's unveiling, even major business figures had risen early that morning, settling in front of their television screens with real anticipation, waiting for Dami's live stream to begin. Inside an elegantly traditional villa in Shin City, Huawei Group's chairman, Ren Jichuan, brewed tea with his own hands while glancing up now and then at the screen in front of him. Dami's official reveal hadn't officially started yet, but the live stream had already gone live, and the sea of people packed into frame looked even more staggering than any of Huawei's own product launches. Watching this, Ren Jichuan's young niece, Jiang Qianqian, sitting beside him, pouted and said, "Uncle, this is a bit much, isn't it? I know Shenfei's a big deal, sure, super talented, he single-handedly built the fastest, most stable motorcycle on the planet, got the entire Chrysler Group practically begging for a piece of it. But Dami and our Huawei are clearly not on the same scale. Anyone who didn't know better would assume Dami's the top tech company in all of Dragon Nation." Jiang Qianqian's face twisted with visible displeasure. Doted on endlessly by her uncle, she'd always spoken her mind freely around him. Watching his beloved niece, Ren Jichuan, couldn't help but chuckle and shake his head. "Qianqian, watch this broadcast closely today. I think you'll learn a great deal. Dami might not match Huawei in scale, sure, but in raw ability, 10 of your uncles combined couldn't measure up to one Le Bussi." Ren Jichuan said it with total seriousness. Her comment might have carried a hint of modesty, but it was obvious Ren Jichuan's respect for Le Bussi had reached its absolute peak. Hearing that, Jiang Qianqian's big, beautiful eyes went wide, and she shook her uncle's arm in a playful, wheedling way, her voice syrupy sweet. "Uncle, did you catch something the rest of us missed? Tell me, tell me." Ren Jichuan looked at his niece with a helpless expression, took a sip of tea, and finally spoke. All right, listen up. This whole move from your Uncle Lei is obviously about riding momentum." "Riding momentum?" Jiang Qianqian tilted her head, utterly confused. Ren Jichuan paused for a breath before continuing. "Qianqian, you've actually already spotted it yourself, just like you said. Dami's current scale simply can't compete with Huawei's. So why is Dami's car reveal today generating even more buzz than our own GGIS 7 launch not long ago? All of it comes down to Le Bussi, riding the wave of that young man, Shenfei." As he finished, Ren Jichuan's gaze drifted meaningfully toward the screen, where the countdown showed the reveal starting in under 5 minutes. Beside him, Jiang Qianqian's sharp eyes suddenly went wide. "Uncle, are you saying Le Bussi's order to Shenfei was never actually about expecting him to build a new energy vehicle in 3 days? He just wanted to borrow Shenfei's momentum and buzz to promote his own Dami vehicle?" Ren Jichuan smiled and nodded. "Qianqian, you nailed it exactly. Honestly, once this whole thing broke, plenty of fellow industry leaders reached out to me, asking what on earth Le Bussi could possibly be thinking, including some heavy hitters over at NEO and BYD. In the end, I only had to ask them one question, and they got it immediately: how much time and money have you all sunk into developing your own vehicles? A car is nothing like a computer or a motorcycle, it's exponentially more complex. Especially a new energy vehicle. That young man Shenfei's clearly talented, sure, but building an entire new energy vehicle in 3 days? Impossible. That said, I genuinely like this kid. Truly skilled young talent like him is a rare thing these days. I've already had Huawei's HR department send Shenfei a formal job offer. I have a feeling he'll be tempted." Even mentioning Shenfei's name, a deep flicker of admiration crossed Ren Jichuan's eyes. Jiang Qianqian couldn't contain her curiosity any longer, she knew perfectly well her uncle was famous for his generosity. Uncle, what kind of offer did you give Shenfei? Ren Jichuan turned to look at her. You want to know? Of course I want to know, uncle. Watching her nod like a chick pecking at rice, Ren Jichuan didn't bother playing coy. The package I offered Shenfei includes a stake in Huawei stock, plus a base salary of no less than 300 million yuan a year, with annual raises guaranteed at no less than 10%. Ren Jichuan's voice filled the room, and Jiang Qianqian's expression went completely blank. She'd expected her uncle to offer something impressive, but never in a million years an offer this astronomical. Forget everything else, that 300 million yuan salary alone could fund an entire 30-person team of Huawei's top-tier technical talent. She stayed frozen for a solid few seconds, and by the time Dammy's reveal officially kicked off on the nearby screen, Jiang Qianqian finally snapped out of her shock. As she and her uncle both looked up toward the live stream, she muttered under her breath, unless this Shenfei's completely blind, there's no way he turns down an offer that insane. Dammy's automotive reveal officially began. A full 5 million plus netizens flooded into the stream all at once, comments lighting up the screen in an instant. But the staff managing Dammy's live stream, glancing at their back-end data, couldn't help but freeze in confusion. In that same window, comments containing the word Dammy numbered a few thousand, seemingly plenty on its own, but comments containing the name Shenfei topped a staggering 70 or 80,000. Sure, Dammy's staff had braced themselves for a lot of attention, but never in their wildest guesses had they expected that the overwhelming majority of viewers tuning in for their new energy vehicle reveal were actually there for Shenfei. As chat buzzed with excitement, Lei Busi had already taken the stage, greeting the live audience. After a brief announcement declaring the event officially underway, Lei Busi handed the spotlight over to Lin Jiancheng, who took the microphone, walked to center stage, and spoke directly. I know exactly why you're all here today, so I won't waste any more time. Let's bring out the star of today's reveal. The moment Lin Jiancheng's words landed, all 5 camera feeds on site swung toward the side of the stage, revealing a strikingly elegant, sleek-lined vehicle being driven forward by Dammy staff. As it rolled toward the stage, Lin Jiancheng watched the car approach, eyes brimming with confidence and pride. Once the vehicle reached center stage, Lin Jiancheng took the mic and walked the audience through its every feature, from the interior to the exterior, and from its range performance to its hardware specs. Every time Lin Jiancheng paused, thunderous applause rippled through the crowd below, and plenty of industry insiders nodded along approvingly as he spoke. Everyone agreed the vehicle's capabilities were genuinely impressive, easily competitive with today's top-tier new energy vehicles. Meanwhile, millions of viewers online were already going wild. Wait, so Brother Fei didn't scam Lei Busi this time? Feels like they actually spared no expense on the exterior and interior. Honestly, this feels pretty on par with most other new energy vehicles out there. Guess Brother Fei's talents really are limited to computers and motorcycles after all. Come on, 3 days, and Brother Fei still managed to deliver Lei Busi something this solid. That's already impressive enough. Wait, hold on, everyone look at the big screen. That car doesn't actually look like something Brother Fei built. Just as millions of viewers debated back and forth, the massive LED screen on stage flickered, and a stream of text and images suddenly flashed across it. Lin Jiancheng turned to face the countless spectators below and spoke with a smile. Everyone, the vehicle Dammy Group is unveiling today is called the S7, the fruit of over 300 sleepless days and nights I've personally poured into leading Dammy's automotive division. Our very first generation of new energy vehicle. I know it likely still has plenty of rough edges, not yet ready to stand at the very peak of today's new energy market. But I ask you all for a little more time. Give us that, and Dammy Automotive will deliver something even more remarkable. As Lin Jiancheng's speech ended, some of Dammy's die-hard fans in the crowd broke into applause immediately. Back in the villa, Ren Jichuan watched the live stream with a knowing expression. Qianqian, see what I mean now? That S7 is, at best, average. Even getting this much attention for it is impressive in its own right. If things keep unfolding this way, Dammy's car won't necessarily be a runaway success, but it's effectively kicked the door open to the new energy vehicle market. Your Uncle Lei's marketing instincts are seriously something else. If he hadn't leveraged Shenfei to generate this much buzz, Dammy's car probably wouldn't have made even a small splash. Alright, keep watching if you'd like. Your uncle has other things to attend to, so I'll leave you to it. Ren Jichuan started to rise, but right then, a question suddenly rang out from the screen. Director Lin, over these past 3 days, word of Chairman Lei's order with Mr. Shenfei has spread across the entire internet. Everyone assumed today's reveal would showcase the vehicle Mr. Shenfei personally built, yet from start to finish, this reveal hasn't involved Mr. Shenfei at all. I'd like to ask, did Mr. Shenfei fail? Was he simply unable to build a vehicle meeting your requirements within 3 days? A reporter on site raised the microphone, asking the question with a serious expression. Ren Jichuan, who'd already started to stand, hesitated a moment before sitting back down, and countless viewers both on-site and online, who'd been burning with the same question, immediately perked up to listen. On stage, Lin Jianqing smiled without missing a beat, then turned to glance toward Lei Busi in the audience. "I think it'd be best if Chairman Lei answers this one himself," Lin Jianqing said, watching Lei Busi with the unmistakable air of a man savoring victory. The moment his words landed, every eye in the room swiveled toward Lei Busi. Lei Busi let out a quiet sigh, then relaxed his expression, as though he'd already prepared himself for exactly this moment. But right then, a rough, sputtering rumble, like a tractor struggling along, suddenly shattered the silence. The sudden tractor sound left everyone on site utterly baffled. This was, after all, a cutting-edge new energy vehicle reveal, and a tractor engine felt jarringly out of place. Once the shock passed, everyone collectively turned toward the source of the sound. Sure enough, a smoke-belching tractor had rolled to a stop at the far east end of the plaza. A moment later, its rickety door creaked open, and a weathered, dark-skinned old farmer climbed down. Seeing so many eyes on him, the old man looked visibly nervous, but then something seemed to click, and he shouted out. "Which one's Boss Lei? Which one's Boss Lei? Some boss and fella asked me to haul this car over to ya." The old farmer's booming voice echoed across the plaza, and everyone instinctively turned to look at the tractor's rear cargo bed. Peering through gaps in a pile of firewood stacked back there, they could just barely make out the edge of a car. Lei Busi snapped out of it and hurried over to the old man. "That's me, I'm the Boss Lei you're looking for. Did Mr. Shenfei send you to bring me a car? It's in the back there, isn't it?" The excitement on Lei Busi's face was impossible to hide. Sure, it had cut things close, but Shenfei had still delivered at the very last minute. But just as Lei Busi started stepping toward the tractor's rear bed, the weathered old farmer suddenly threw an arm out, blocking him. "Boss Lei, can't look yet, you can't look at it yet. You ain't paid the delivery fee. I drove several hours to haul this thing all the way out here. That Mr. Shenfella told me to collect the delivery fee straight from you," the old man said urgently. Hearing that, even Lei Busi's expression froze for a second, and millions of viewers watching burst out laughing instantly. "I'm not exaggerating, I just spat out a whole mouthful of water laughing. Ha, I can't, give me 3 minutes to laugh this off. Hauling the car in on a tractor was one thing, but making it cash on delivery too? This is a level of chaos nobody else could pull off. Familiar vibe, familiar recipe. Brother Fei really is Brother Fei, through and through. Ha, everyone look, Lei Busi straight up questioning his life choices right now. Guys, this hits just right, chef's kiss, exactly the vibe I came here for." Viewers online were losing it, and even the live audience broke into laughter. Only the old farmer stood there, watching Lei Busi warily, clearly not budging until he got paid. Snapping out of it, Lei Busi's eyelid twitched violently. Then he waved a hand behind him, and a woman who looked like his secretary hurried over. He pulled a few hundred yuan in cash from his wallet and handed it to the old man, who finally, satisfied, led Lei Busi toward the back of the tractor. A moment later, the old man dropped the tailgate, and everyone finally got a clear look at the new energy vehicle Shenfei had built. But once they actually saw its shape, the crowd froze again, just slightly confused. Because unlike most new energy vehicles on the market today, this one looked, on closer inspection, exactly like the long-discontinued classic AE-86. Wait, is Brother Fei secretly a Takumi Fujiwara fan? Is that why he went with an AE-86 look? All I can say is, this thing radiates pure retro energy, and honestly, I'm kind of into it. Come on, I think this scammer-in-chief either didn't want the hassle or just wanted to save money, so he grabbed some beat-up second-hand car and slapped a new energy retrofit on it. Huh, exactly, the guy above really gets Brother Fei. While viewers speculated wildly, Lei Busi had already scrambled up onto the tractor's cargo bed, and all 5 live cameras swung to focus on the car I'd built. Off to the side, having already stepped down from the stage, Lin Jianqing watched with an air of total indifference. Several Dammy board members stood beside him, already offering their early congratulations. "Director Lin, congratulations, truly. The S7 you personally led development on has landed a resounding success today." "Absolutely. From here on out, Dammy has fully cracked open the door to the new energy vehicle industry, and Director Lin deserves all the credit. I actually just checked, our stock price already climbed 0.05% in just the last few minutes. I can already picture Dammy scaling even greater heights under Director Lin's leadership." The board members clustered around Lin Jianqing, faces plastered with smiles, and as he soaked in their flattery, the smile lines around his eyes deepened further. He lifted his chin slightly, gesturing toward Lei Busi's direction. "Everyone, isn't it a bit premature to celebrate? We haven't even seen the car Chairman Lei spent 10 million yuan commissioning from this Shenfei fellow yet, have we?" Lin Jianqing said it with a smile, though the contempt in his eyes was plain for anyone paying close attention. Just then, some kind of commotion seemed to be brewing over on Lei Busi's side, and as the noise picked up, Lin Jiansheng narrowed his eyes and looked over. Meanwhile, Lei Busi had already unlocked the car with the key Shen Fei had left behind. The interior looked pretty much like any other new energy vehicle, no obvious differences, but the problem hit the instant Lei Busi tried to start the engine. The car was still sitting up on the tractor bed, with the ramp already set up, ready for it to drive down the moment it started. But when Lei Busi pressed the one-touch ignition button, the car didn't respond at all. Watching this unfold, both the live crowd and online viewers couldn't help but erupt into chatter. Okay, what even is this? I feel so much better now, honestly. Compared to Brother Fei, I was starting to feel like a total failure at life. The noise on site kept building as Lei Busi, brow furrowed, began checking what had gone wrong. As a tech background executive himself, he had at least some working knowledge of cars, nowhere near expert level, sure, but far more than the average person. And that little bit of knowledge turned out to be exactly the problem, because the moment he actually checked, Lei Busi could barely hold himself together. Power. This thing's completely out of power. Slumped against the driver's seat, even Lei Busi couldn't help but curse under his breath, several dark lines practically visible across his forehead. His words, carried out through the venue's live audio, instantly silenced the buzzing crowd, and the entirety of the vast Beishan Plaza fell into dead, absolute silence. The silence held for a solid few seconds before the whole place erupted into uncontrollable laughter. People were doubled over, unable to straighten back up, tears of laughter streaming down their faces. Plenty had only ever heard about Shen Fei's reputation as a scammer without any real sense of what that meant, but today, they finally saw it firsthand. And the viewers who'd tuned in specifically for Shen Fei were already having the time of their lives. I can't, give me a second to breathe, just let me die laughing. Same old flavor, same old recipe, still the same king of scammers through and through. I thought not filling Hi Sister's gas tank was as bad as it got. Turns out Lei Busi's got it even worse. Brother Fei couldn't even spare a single charge. A 10 million yuan order, and he can't bring himself to spend 30 yuan on electricity? Across the entire business world, that's a genuinely unhinged move. Everywhere else, the customer is king. But with Brother Fei, he's the one who acts like the king. I bet Chairman Lei never imagined his own name and status meant absolutely nothing here, scamming, no exceptions. Of course it is. Did you all see how completely stunned Chairman Lei looked? Only Brother Fei could make a billionaire lose his composure like that. Slumped against the car seat, Lei Busi's mood had genuinely hit a strange low. Thinking back over every requirement he'd sent Shen Fei in that order, he'd nearly stopped expecting anything at all. But right then, his phone suddenly buzzed. He instinctively pulled it out and glanced at the screen, his expression freezing for a moment. He'd assumed it was some business partner reaching out, but instead, it was Shen Fei, messaging him directly through the Tiger Kill platform's order reply feature. As Lei Busi finished reading what Shen Fei had sent, his brow furrowed tight. And he murmured something under his breath, too quiet for anyone else to catch, before falling silent. A solid 10+ seconds later, once Dammy's staff finally wheeled over a mobile charging unit, Lei Busi snapped out of his contemplation. Taking a deep breath, he climbed out of the car, leaned in to murmur a few words to his secretary, and started walking straight off toward the edge of the venue. Watching this, the crowd assumed Lei Busi had simply stormed off in anger over how I'd embarrassed him, and chatter erupted instantly. The secretary, seeing the situation spiraling slightly out of control, hurried to step in and explain. Our reveal event isn't actually over yet. Chairman Lei just told me that once the car finishes charging, he'll officially demonstrate the vehicle Mr. Shen Fei built for our company. We ask everyone to please be patient a little longer. With that, the secretary stepped back to oversee the charging process, and the tens of thousands on site, along with the millions watching online, settled in to wait patiently. For any other company's reveal event, keeping everyone waiting half an hour would have sent crowds streaming for the exits. But because of me, everyone showed remarkable patience. About 20 minutes later, a sudden roar of engines erupted, right as everyone had started growing restless from the wait. The moment that thunderous roar hit, plenty of heads snapped toward the open stretch near the mountain entrance of Beishan Plaza, where a whole procession of supercars had suddenly emerged, rolling to a smooth stop in formation. At a glance, there had to be at least a dozen or more, including some genuinely top-tier machines like Ferraris and Lamborghinis. A dazzling sight. They always did say a supercar was the ultimate romance for any man. The instant that lineup appeared, everyone's attention snapped toward it, plenty scrambling to snap photos on their phones. And just as all eyes locked onto those top-tier supercars, Lei Busi's voice suddenly rang out over the loudspeakers. For the next segment, I'd like to invite everyone to enjoy a real racing spectacle. Every one of these is a world-class supercar we specifically brought in for today, and every driver behind the wheel is a certified professional racer. Lei Busi's voice boomed across the entire plaza, and cheers erupted instantly. Nobody had expected this level of spectacle today, and millions of online viewers exploded with excitement right along with them. Whoa, Chairman Lei really is Chairman Lei. Every single reveal event of his goes completely over the top. Just hearing those engines roar makes my blood pump. Wait, but this is supposed to be Dammy's new energy vehicle reveal. Why bring in a fleet of gas-guzzling supercars for a race? Is that really the move here? Right, what is Chairman Lei even thinking with this? Is he scared his own Dammy car's gonna sell too well or something? Hey, why overthink it? We've got a show to watch, isn't that enough? Wait, whoa, hold on, everyone look, am I seeing things? Chat spiraled into a sudden frenzy, and the expressions of the crowd on site froze solid as well. At the starting line leading onto the mountain road up Beishan, over a dozen supercars sat rumbling like beasts coiled to pounce, and right in the middle of that lineup, Lei Busi pulled up behind the wheel of the car Shenfei had built. The sight hit everyone like a lone lamb wandering into a pack of steel predators, and a mute one at that. After a single second of stunned silence, the crowd's noise erupted like a tidal wave all over again. Someone slap me, please, why am I hallucinating in broad daylight? Ow, okay, not a hallucination. But has Chairman Lei genuinely lost it? Let me process this, a dozen plus supercars racing, and Chairman Lei's entering with a new energy vehicle, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Koenigsegg's. If Chairman Lei so much as sees their exhaust fumes, I'll call it a win for him. All I can say is, this show gets a perfect score from me. This is, hands down, the most insane car reveal I've ever witnessed. It wasn't just ordinary viewers left reeling, even Lin Jiancheng and the rest of the Dammy board up in the stands had their jaws on the floor. A solid several seconds passed before Lin Jiancheng was the first to snap out of it, wiping the corner of his eye. Chairman Lei, are you seriously proving how useless that car is with your own hands, just to make our S7 look better by comparison? That's more than enough, Chairman Lei. Whatever happens with your title as executive director going forward, you'll always have my deepest respect. Lin Jiancheng's voice cracked with what looked like genuine emotion, as if Lei Busi's sacrifice had truly moved him. Beside him, the rest of the board caught on instantly. So that's what this was about. The bigger the spectacle Chairman Lei creates, the better our S7 sells by comparison. Leave it to Director Lin to see straight through it. With Director Lin leading the way, Dammy's only headed toward bigger, stronger, more glorious days ahead. As Lin Jiancheng and the others watched on, the race had already entered its final countdown. Over a dozen supercars sat coiled and ready, engines roaring skyward, while Lei Busi's Shenfei-branded vehicle sat there like a lamb waiting quietly for slaughter, bracing for a total wipeout at the hands of a dozen supercars. Finally, as the countdown hit zero and the starting gun cracked, every single supercar launched forward in an instant, that explosive rocket start driving, sending the crowd into a frenzy of excitement. But the moment everyone's eyes shifted to Lei Busi's car, laughter rippled through the crowd instead. Sure, new energy vehicles typically accelerate faster off the line than most gas-powered cars, but that only held up against ordinary combustion engines. Against genuine supercars like these, it was laughably outmatched. Right out of the gate, Lei Busi had already fallen a solid few dozen meters behind, and that gap only grew from there. The staff piloting the drone camera crew handled it professionally. Of the 5 drones tracking the race, 2 stayed locked on Lei Busi's tailpipe the entire time. And just like that, Lei Busi's car finally reached the first curve on the Beishan Mountain Road, with everyone on site and online glued to the massive LED screen in the plaza, watching the live drone feed. Naturally, most eyes were locked on the supercars. The footage, largely uninterested in whatever Lei Busi was up to, and they gave it only a passing glance before turning back to the real spectacle, until a disbelieving shriek suddenly rang out. On screen, Lei Busi's car had somehow climbed to 120 kilometers per hour. Sure, nowhere near the supercars, but nowhere near slow either. Remember, most highways cap out around that same speed. And at that velocity, Lei Busi suddenly cut hard into a curve, clearing the entire sweeping bend in under a single second. Chairman Lei clocked that turn in 0.6 seconds flat, twice as fast as it should have been. I figured he was here to show off the car, turns out he's here to show off his own driving. Okay, I'm sold, I'm officially Chairman Lei's #1 driving fan now. Chat spiraled into pure chaos, every eye locking onto the footage of Lei Busi's car, and the longer everyone watched, the more unnerved they became. Everyone had assumed cornering that sharp without braking was already his ceiling, but that turned out to be just the opening act. Downshifting and heel toe, trail braking, weight transfer through the apex, drift initiation. Chairman Lei, are you secretly a retired F1 driver or something? All of that was impressive enough on its own, but the real showstopper came right after. Front engine weight shifts to lift the front wheels for tighter overtaking lines, precise microcorrections executed with minimal countersteer, all to conserve tire wear as much as possible. But the most jaw-dropping part was Chairman Lei using momentum alone to drift through corners. Feels like Chairman Lei's driving skills could go toe-to-toe with Takumi Fujiwara himself. I'm officially calling him Fujiwara Lei. Chat had completely exploded by this point. No one had expected this race to unfold this way. Lei Busi, surrounded by top-tier supercars and professional drivers, had somehow become the undisputed main character. And with Beishan's mountain road already dense with tight corners, Lei Busi's outrageous technique had carried him from dead last all the way up to first place, opening up nearly a full kilometer's lead over second. The professional drivers he'd blown past stared at the smoke-free, near-silent new energy vehicle streaking ahead of them with expressions of pure existential doubt. Boss Lei, who's actually the professional driver here, me or you? Who's actually driving the supercar right now, me or you? Across Beishan Plaza, not a single sound rippled through the crowd anymore, every face turned upward toward the LED screen, eyes locked on Lei Busi's car in pure awe. Off to the side, Lin Jiansheng and the rest of the dummy board exchanged glances, each catching the same confusion in the other's eyes. When did Chairman Lei pick up driving skills like this? Who knows? He's always had a ton of hobbies, maybe he learned it back when he was young. Honestly, feels like Chairman Lei could retire and go straight into professional racing, and if that happens, drinks are on me, I'll take everyone to go watch. Old son, you said it, we're forming a group trip to go watch Chairman Lei race whenever that happens. Okay, that's enough. Sure, Chairman Lei's driving is impressive, but you don't actually think it's better than a professional racer's, do you? He hired all these drivers himself, who knows how much they're holding back. Hearing that last line from Lin Jiansheng, everyone nodded along in agreement. Meanwhile, at the foot of Beishan, Lei Busi's car had gradually come back into everyone's view. They might have stayed composed, but the tens of thousands on site absolutely could not. Before Lei Busi even brought the car to a full stop, roaring cheers had already erupted across the entire plaza. What nobody realized was that Lei Busi, still sitting in the driver's seat, had a look of pure shock plastered across his face. Staring at the steering wheel in front of him, he swallowed hard, throat bobbing, utterly unable to believe what had just happened. That state of stunned disbelief lasted a solid 2 minutes, until the rest of the professional drivers finished their own laps around Beishan and crossed the finish line. Only then did Lei Busi take a couple of deep breaths and slowly push the car door open, stepping out. The moment his feet hit the ground, the professional drivers swarmed him. Chairman Lei, are you kidding us right now? You organized this whole Beishan race, dragged all of us out here, put up a 5 million yuan first place prize, and we all brought our absolute best. Turns out you were the real hidden talent this whole time. That driving could rival an actual F1 driver. There's no catching you, genuinely no catching you. The drivers wore rueful smiles, admiration for Lei Busi's skill written plainly across their faces. As the saying goes, outsiders watch for the spectacle, insiders watch for the craft, and even to these seasoned professionals, Lei Busi's driving was jaw-dropping. Especially when he'd overtaken them earlier, that flawless, fluid execution had left every single one of them stunned. And if even professional drivers were this floored by Lei Busi's skill, the ordinary crowd was even more so. Tens of thousands on site pressed in closer, shouting out. Chairman Lei, that was insane. That race was better than any foreign blockbuster. Chairman Lei, are you taking students? I want to learn to drive like you. Chairman Lei, put out a driving tutorial, I'll get on my knees for it. Chairman Lei, I'll have your babies. The crowd's energy kept climbing, the shouts growing more and more absurd. Lei Busi took the mic from his secretary and cleared his throat once, and the noise died down, by more than half almost instantly. Then, meeting the countless excited stares fixed on him, Lei Busi spoke slowly. What do you all think of this one? As he said it, he raised a finger and pointed off to the side. Everyone followed his finger and turned in unison. The moment they realized he meant the car Shenfei had built, everyone opened their mouths to offer an opinion, but before a single word came out, a sudden flapping, tearing sound rang out. 3 of the car's 4 tires suddenly split apart entirely. The one remaining tire had gone visibly crooked. And it wasn't over. After a series of faint clicking sounds, a much louder crash erupted from somewhere deep inside the car's body. Sounded like the motor had just burned out. The crowd held its breath for 1 full second before erupting into laughter all over again. Just how much did Shenfei rip Chairman Lei off for? Not charging the battery was one thing, but the build quality's this bad too? First time I've seen a brand new car turn into scrap after a single run. Feels like Chairman Lay's got some serious luck on his side. No kidding, his legs are probably still shaking. If that thing had broken down mid-race, we'd have had to burn incense for him. Feels like this car actually held Chairman Lay's driving back. If he'd been in a real supercar just now, I genuinely can't imagine what kind of visual feast that would have been. Run it again, Chairman Lay, this time in the Koenigsegg. Yeah, Chairman Lay, please. The crowd shouted out one demand after another. Nearby, Lin Jiansheng and the rest of the board looked at the now totaled wreck of a car and shook their heads with amused laughter. Only Lei Busi kept his eyes fixed on the car, no trace of surprise on his face whatsoever. Guess everyone's not too impressed with this car. In that case, let me show you all something else. Xiao, Zhang, pull up the video on my phone and put it on the big screen. As he spoke, Lei Busi pulled out his phone and handed it to his secretary, a lingering flicker of excitement still visible deep in his eyes. His secretary nodded quickly, took the phone, and hurried off toward the control booth. Both the on-site and online crowds froze for a beat, clearly unsure what Lei Busi could possibly be up to now. Patience wearing thin, everyone kept their eyes locked on the massive LED screen. The moment the secretary got everything set up, the footage appeared. Whoa, is this footage from inside Chairman Lei's car? Now this is interesting. I've been dying to see exactly how he pulled that driving off. Chairman Lei's a legend, I'm studying this footage frame by frame, no exceptions. Don't even bother saying you're gonna study it, look, the professional drivers are already doing the exact same thing, pulling out their phones. Recording the screen themselves. Everyone stared at the massive display, not daring to blink, terrified of missing a single detail. On screen, the roar of a dozen-plus supercar engines had already started up, clearly the moment right before the race began. In frame, Lei Busi wasn't touching the steering wheel at all, he simply reached out and tapped once on the central control screen. The next instant, a smooth, feminine chime rang out through the massive screen speakers, reaching every ear on-site and online. Ding ding, fully autonomous driving mode selected. Please fasten your seatbelt. The chime was pleasant enough, but those two lines hit everyone like a thunderclap. Every face in the crowd froze solid. Nearby, Lin Jiansheng and the rest of the dummy board looked utterly unable to believe what they just heard, wondering if they'd misheard entirely. Fully autonomous driving, did that mean the thing that had just outdriven every professional and every supercar out there wasn't Chairman Lei at all, but the car itself? One middle-aged board member swallowed hard, throat bobbing, his voice trembling with disbelief. Plenty of new energy vehicles today claim to have autonomous driving, sure, but every executive in that room knew perfectly well that so-called self-driving tech was still firmly in the testing phase. At best, it qualified as driver assist, capable of avoiding obstacles, executing emergency stops, that sort of thing. Even Lin Jiansheng's own S7, which he'd personally demonstrated driving itself to the center of the stage earlier, had already been considered a remarkable achievement. When Lin Jiansheng had first demonstrated that feature, thunderous applause had erupted from the crowd. That alone showed how impressive it was considered. But now, what were they hearing? Fully autonomous intelligent driving, and all it required from Lei Busi was buckling his seatbelt. If that entire race, from start to finish, had really been executed by the car Shenfei built, if Lei Busi genuinely hadn't touched the steering wheel once, from beginning to end, then they honestly couldn't fathom the shockwave this car was about to send through the entire new energy vehicle industry. Compared to this thing, every single vehicle out there currently claiming to have autonomous driving would get absolutely humiliated by comparison. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. At most this should just be some driver assist feature, no device could possibly execute maneuvers like that entirely on its own. Technology like this shouldn't even exist right now, not even 10 years from now, honestly. Lin Jiansheng, snapping out of his shock, blurted this out with uncharacteristic loss of composure. Just then, another board member narrowed his eyes and spoke up. Hearing that, Lin Jiansheng pressed his lips together, brow tightening as he stared at the massive screen. The rest of the ordinary crowd, having gotten past their own shock, had their eyes glued to the screen too. On the massive LED display, the race footage had already started playing. After buckling his seatbelt, Lei Busi leaned back comfortably into the driver's seat, making no further movements at all. The straightaway blurred past quickly, and the footage cut to the first corner. Everyone unconsciously held their breath. The 0.6-second turn flashed by in an instant, and once that image fully registered in everyone's minds, a collective chill shot through the crowd, scalps prickling all at once, a cold wave rushing straight up from their feet to the crowns of their heads. I'm numb. Completely numb. If I'm reading this right, from start to finish, Chairman Lei never once touched that steering wheel, did he? That blindingly fast, no-brake cornering, that was really the car doing it all on its own? Did anyone catch Chairman Lei's own expression just now? Even he looked genuinely startled. Damn it, who wouldn't be startled by that? I've never once heard of a car that could drift on its own. Chat exploded like a tidal wave, everyone's jaw hitting the floor at the sight. And it wasn't over yet, corner after corner, overtake after overtake, downshifting and heel-toe braking, trail braking, weight shift drift initiation, front-end lift for optimal overtaking lines, minimal countersteer corrections to preserve tire wear, momentum-based drifting, maneuvers even professional racers struggled to pull off, and countless viewers watched, wide-eyed, as a car executed every single one of them entirely on its own. The longer they watched, the more unsettled everyone became, especially at the 10-minute and 8-second mark. When that same smooth chime rang out again. Ding, detected, the moment those two alerts played back, everyone swallowed hard, throats bobbing in unison. Apparently the tire and motor failures had already been flagged by the car's own diagnostic system, down to the precise second, meaning throughout the entire ride, there had never been any real risk of danger whatsoever. I'm floored, completely and utterly floored. I thought an 800+ km/h motorcycle was already Brother Faye's ceiling, turns out in just 3 more days, he's blown my mind all over again. Brother Faye might as well be a god in my eyes at this point. From computers to motorcycles to new energy vehicles, exactly where is Brother Faye's ceiling? I never imagined a single person could be this insanely capable. Is it too late for me to go back to school? First-time knowledge and skill have ever genuinely amazed me like this. Someone guessed earlier that Brother Faye's already 60 years old. Honestly, I'd bet he's closer to 80. Mastering this many different fields takes an entire lifetime of dedication to pull off. Nearly 10 million viewers now packed into the stream, and the discussion just wouldn't stop. Watching the car on the massive screen, still gliding along in full autonomous mode, felt to them no different than witnessing Ultraman appear in real life. Everyone finally saw the light. And it wasn't just ordinary viewers left utterly stunned, even the business tycoons watching the live stream sat frozen, expressions blank. Back in his private villa, Ren Jichuan watched everything unfold, his breathing growing noticeably ragged. Not long ago, Huawei themselves had just unveiled their own new energy vehicle, the Jijia S9. The moment it launched, it had crushed nearly every rival on the market, riding its autonomous driving feature straight to the top of the entire new energy vehicle industry. But comparing the Jijia S9 self-driving to what Shenfei had just built, Ren Jichuan genuinely didn't know what to say anymore. What exactly was their Jijia S9's autonomous driving even worth calling that anymore? It looked like a child's toy in comparison. And remembering the 300 million yuan annual salary he'd had Huawei's HR department offer Shenfei, Ren Jichuan's face burned with embarrassment. Huawei had poured over 20 billion yuan into research just to barely produce the Jijia S9, and here was Shenfei, single-handedly building a car that could stomp their Jijia S9 into the dirt. Shenfei's value alone dwarfed every highly paid master's and doctoral researcher he'd hired, by a margin he couldn't even calculate. 300 million, Ren Jichuan felt like that offer wasn't just an insult to Shenfei, it was an insult to himself. Qianqian, your uncle was wrong this time. Dead wrong. From the very start, this was never Lei Buxi's marketing stunt at all. It was Shenfei's one-man show. I underestimated him badly. That one man is worth more than I don't know how many elite research teams combined. For Dragon Nation to have talent like this is a stroke of fortune for the entire country and its people. After a bitter chuckle, Ren Jichuan's expression shifted into something almost giddy with excitement. In that moment, whether Shenfei would ever come work for Huawei didn't matter to him anymore. What mattered was simply that Shenfei was a son of Dragon Nation, and that alone filled him with relief. Beside him, Jiang Qianqian had long since stopped listening to a single word. Her eyes locked on the screen, practically sparkling with stars, having fully transformed into one of my devoted little fans. On the massive screen, once the footage finished playing after over 10 minutes, everyone's attention shifted back to the car I'd built. A single clap broke the silence first, and then, like a chain reaction, thunderous applause erupted across the entire venue within a single breath. Everyone stared at that car, feeling as though they were witnessing the dawn of a whole new golden age for new energy vehicles. And right at that moment, from inside the car with its shredded tires and burnt-out motor, that same lovely chime rang out once more. Ding ding, you have a voice message waiting. Please review it, owner. Verifying, message permissions confirmed. Now automatically playing the message for the vehicle owner. The sudden voice caught everyone off guard, and before anyone could react, a warm, magnetic voice began playing out from inside the car. Hey there, Chairman Lei, this is Shenfei. You've probably heard by now, I only sell products, never patents. Whoever figures out how it works, just toss me a licensing fee, that's all I ask. That said, for this vehicle, I'm calling it the Dami Sure, our first-generation new energy model, I'm willing to sell you certain patents outright. Can't help it, I'm a little short on cash lately. If you're interested, Chairman Lei, feel free to reach out through the order reply system. My words echoed slowly across the entire plaza, and the crowd fell into stunned silence, while the millions of viewers watching online snapped out of it and erupted all at once. No way, the sheer nerve, the king of scammers saying something this outrageous with a straight face. I'm dying, me too. Sure, anyone in the world could theoretically be short on cash, but you, the king of scammers, claiming you're broke? That's a joke and a half. Wait, hold on, is that actually Brother Faye's real voice? Why does it sound so young? Bro, you just woke me right up. That voice sounds like he's maybe 20 years old, tops. Wait, hold on, no jokes here, 20 years old? Has Brother Faye been doing research since he was in the womb? I could accept 80 years old, but 20? How am I supposed to live with myself now? Compared to him, aren't I basically a complete failure? I can already see today's #1 trending topic, Freak Genius partners with Lei Busi. Meanwhile I'm 20 and still watching cartoons. Guys, please stop, my mom's watching this live stream right now too, and every time she glances at the screen, then glances back at me, there's murder in her eyes. One stray voice message had accidentally revealed my real age, and everyone was losing their composure over it. As for Lei Busi, his grin had stretched practically ear to ear. He'd known all along about my products only, no patents policy. Originally, he'd figured he'd first secure absolute control of Dami through this win, then personally lead a research team, to spend day and night reverse engineering the car I'd built him. Never had he imagined I'd hand him this gift outright instead. With my help, Lei Busi felt certain the first-generation Dami S-Ray could reach mass production in no time. In that moment, he decided the name Ray fit perfectly. This car really was a ray of light breaking into the new energy vehicle world, and I, in turn, was a ray of light in Lei Busi's own life, illuminating both him and Dami Group completely. With that thought, Lei Busi started to hurry off to contact me. But right then, a heavy set of footsteps rang out. Lei Busi turned to find Lin Jianqing standing behind him. Chairman Lei, congratulations. A trace of bitterness crossed Lin Jianqing's face, mixed with a lingering flicker of disbelief. He genuinely never imagined that Lei Busi would win this decisively against Dami's entire R&D department, relying on a single man, and win without any real contest at all. You don't need to feel down about this. It wasn't me who beat you. It was that genius kid. People always say most of my life's been legendary, but standing next to this kid, I feel like he's the real legend here. Lei Busi said it to Lin Jianqing with genuine sincerity, and hearing it, Lin Jianqing's expression froze for a moment before he shook his head with a rueful smile. Chairman Lei, you've misunderstood. I'm not down about this. Losing to Shenfei isn't a shameful loss, he's genuinely terrifying enough to make my heart shake. But your judgment was just as impressive. Now I finally understand, you're not just Dami's founder, you're the one leader Dami truly needs. Chairman Lei, I hope our paths cross again. With that, Lin Jianqing gave Lei Busi a slight bow and turned to leave. But Lei Busi, watching him hesitate for a moment, couldn't help but call out. What are your plans going forward? Lei Busi didn't try to hold him back. After all, had he lost, he doubted Lin Jianqing would have done the same for him. In business, the two of them were rivals, competitors. But on certain fronts, Lei Busi genuinely respected Lin Jianqing. At the very least, when it came to new energy vehicle technology, Lin Jianqing was far more capable than he was. The S7 had only lost to Shenfei, it hadn't lost to any other car on the market. I think I'll head back to the research institute. You know how it is, Chairman Lei, my family, the Lins, has some standing in Yanjing. I used to devote myself completely to research there, but eventually I found it too tedious and lost interest. Today, though, Shenfei showed me what real research actually looks like. I think I want to dedicate the rest of my life to research work. Even if I only manage to accomplish something small, it'll have been a life well spent. Lin Jianqing said it with total sincerity, as though he'd already made peace with the decision deep down. Lei Busi stared at him, and for the first time, a flicker of genuine admiration crossed his eyes. Good luck to you. Thanks, Chairman Lei. I hope we can sit down and share tea again someday. With that final line, Lin Jianqing let go of any lingering attachment to everything around him. He turned, waved a hand toward Lei Busi, and walked off the scene with easy grace. Watching Lin Jianqing's figure grow smaller in the distance, Lei Busi pressed his lips together, finally murmuring to himself. Every researcher deserves respect and admiration, but most spend their entire lives working in obscurity. Few ever get to produce results like Shenfei's, one after another. Jianqing, I hope you can find peace with that reality throughout your long career ahead, because a freak of nature like Shenfei only comes along once in the world. With Lin Jincheng's exit and Lei Buxi's quiet reflection, Dami's reveal event finally drew to a close, its curtain falling on a resounding success. And the name Shenfei once again dominated every trending list across every platform, every front page, every headline, all of it claimed by this one glowing new energy vehicle. Sure, people had seen new energy vehicles before, seen ones with driver assist features too, but a fully autonomous, self-drifting racing machine? Nobody had even dreamed of that. So plenty of people who'd missed the live reveal, upon stumbling across the Beishan race footage online, were left utterly floored. Nobody had ever imagined that in an era this technologically advanced, the first profession to go extinct wouldn't be farming, but racing, a field that had always seemed impossible to automate. And as the online storm kept growing louder, I finally entered the field of vision of certain very particular people. Motu City's first military district, ranked among the nation's top 10 most critical military installations, wasn't known for its combat strength, but for housing some of the country's most advanced military R&D capabilities. Home to the nation's largest military research facility, it had drawn together an unmatched concentration of the country's top research talent. Somewhere deep inside that sprawling military compound, a gray-haired, weathered old man sat watching a video on his phone, adjusting his reading glasses on the bridge of his nose. Impressive, truly impressive. Never imagined Dragon Nation had a young talent this remarkable. Shame his research seems entirely focused on civilian applications, a real waste of that kind of gift. The old man, named Chen Jinming, sighed with genuine regret, then reached out and pressed a button on his desk. A few minutes later, a sharply postured young man knocked and entered. "Professor, you called for me?" "Yes, Xiao Ma. I need you to find a way to reach out to this young man, Shenfei. I'd like to invite him to come work at our research facility." Chen Jinming said this, looking at his star pupil, Ma Hongyi, one of many students under his tutelage, but among all of them, Ma Hongyi ranked easily in the top 5 for both raw talent and understanding. Because of that, Chen Jinming always treated him with unusual warmth. Yet hearing this request, Ma Hongyi hesitated visibly. "Professor, I've heard of this Shenfei, his story's been blowing up online lately, but inviting him straight into our research facility feels like a bit of a stretch, doesn't it? Everyone we recruit here comes from top military academies and research institutes, and over half our staff have already spent at least 5 years working in military R&D specifically. And everything this Shenfei's built has been civilian tech. Bringing him here, I'd bet he wouldn't understand a thing about what we do." Ma Hongyi said this boldly. Most people, receiving an order from Chen Jinming, wouldn't dream of questioning it, terrified of provoking one of his notorious tirades. Because despite how mild-mannered he appeared right now, Chen Jinming was famously short-tempered within the research facility, and plenty of new researchers had been reduced to tears by him before. But Ma Hongyi could speak this freely precisely because Chen Jinming treated him differently than everyone else. Sure enough, Chen Jinming just chuckled. "I only want to give Shenfei a trial run, not enlist him as a full member of the facility outright. Civilian work and military work are worlds apart, after all, whether he has the same brilliance for military applications is something only time can decide. Alright, go make contact with him first." Chen Jinming waved a hand, and Ma Hongyi obediently nodded, turning to head for the door. But just as his hand touched the doorknob, Chen Jinming's voice rang out again. "Oh, right, has Qin Ying finished her experiment yet?" At the mention of Qin Ying's name, unmistakable admiration flickered deep in Ma Hongyi's eyes. He nodded quickly. "Yes, Professor. Dr. Qin has completed her research into the TZ-type ultra-hardness core material. This experiment took Dr. Qin nearly 2 full years, on and off, but her breakthrough is about to bring a historic revolution to our ground combat tanks. With this ultra-hard core, our tank combat capability will jump by more than 2 full tiers. Dr. Qin is a true genius." Ma Hongyi didn't hold back a shred of admiration as he spoke, practically implying that next to Qin Ying, Shenfei barely registered as anything special at all. Chen Jinming nodded along, a faint smile breaking across his usually stern face. "That girl Qin Ying really does have exceptional talent. Back when she trained under me, it only took her 2.5 years to earn her place as a full instructor here. Xiao Ma, you all need to work just as hard." "Yes, Professor, I promise none of us will let you down." "Alright, good. Go make contact with Shenfei first, and once that's done, let everyone know we're holding a meeting in Conference Room 1, have Qin Ying join us too." "Understood, Professor, I'll go arrange it right away." The moment he heard he'd get to see Qin Ying soon, Ma Hongyi's entire demeanor perked up with excitement, and he quickened his pace out of Chen Jinming's office. Once he'd gone, Chen Jinming turned his attention back to the phone in front of him, watching the footage of the fully autonomous, self-drifting new energy vehicle I'd built. He murmured to himself. I wonder if this is running on a fixed program, or genuine intelligent road recognition. If it's the latter, this could potentially be applied to military operations, dramatically improving special forces efficiency. Though, given current technological limits, mass-producing a system like this would be extremely difficult. Shen Fei must have spent a considerable amount of time developing this on his own. Meanwhile, I had no idea I'd already caught the attention of Chen Jinming, a genuine titan of military R&D. After sending Lei Busi certain core technical data for the SURA vehicle, I stepped out of my shop, intending to take a proper break for a few days. In the memories I'd inherited from my predecessor, besides the shop itself, there was apparently also an apartment back in the city center. So I decided to head there and spend a couple of days. Sure, the shop had a room for resting too, but in my opinion, work and life need to stay separate though. Out here, I barely see another living soul most days. If this kept up, I figured my social skills would start to atrophy. I stepped out through the shop's front doors, and under the warm afternoon sun, I couldn't help but stretch out lazily. As for the shop, my plan was to hold off on taking new orders for a couple of days, or at least wait until something worthwhile came along. Now that I'd unlocked stage 3 of the system and its top-tier military-grade manufacturing, I found myself craving a bigger challenge. Well, that's settled it for now. Time to head into the city. I let out a breath, climbed into my battered old second-hand car, and cruised leisurely toward downtown. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, within the research compound belonging to Modu City's first military district, Chen Jinming was striding toward the conference hall. Before he'd even gotten close, he could already hear something like ghosts wailing and wolves howling from inside. Sister Ing, cut it out. I give up, isn't that enough? Instructor Qin, you're a mentor now, you shouldn't be bullying people like this. Ugh, one more hit and something's gonna break. Hearing this, Chen Jinming's expression twitched slightly, and he couldn't help but shake his head with a wry laugh. That girl, honestly. He picked up his pace, and by the time he reached the conference room doors, he arrived just in time to see a gorgeous silhouette plant a kick and send someone flying. Those long legs, wrapped in loose trousers, were both sultry and devastatingly powerful. Chen Jinming looked closer. Aside from the man Qin Ing had just kicked away, 4 or 5 others were sprawled on the floor too, unable to even crawl. Clearly, Qin Ing hadn't gone easy on any of them. She hadn't yet noticed Chen Jinming behind her. Glancing at the men groaning on the ground, she clapped her hands together, crossed her arms, and said, "Come on, you all have got to be kidding me with these weak bodies. I told you, when you're not busy with research, you need to actually train. It's been 2 years, and you're still this soft?" Qin Ying's crisp voice rang out through the massive conference hall. It wasn't just the men on the floor who looked ready to cry without tears, even the crowd of onlookers gathered around couldn't help wincing. Sister Ing, how come you say we haven't trained? We run 20 kilometers through the mountains every single day. 2 years straight, not a day missed. But fighting you? Could we ever win? Even the special forces guys steer clear when they see you coming. What else are we supposed to do? Forget it. Sister Ing, do whatever you want with us. We'll die standing. Good. Now that's got some backbone, finally sounding like men. Fine, I'll spare you. As she spoke, Qin Ying's long legs, easily over a meter, were already lifting to strike again. But right then, Chen Jinming finally couldn't stand by any longer. All right, Qin Ing, that's enough tormenting your junior colleagues. Chen Jinming said, hands clasped behind his back as he walked into the room. The moment the crowd inside spotted him, their faces lit up as if they'd seen their own father, and they rushed over, wiping at their eyes. Master Chen, you have to stand up for us. Qin Ying's bullying is out of control. We're a room full of the nation's top military research talent, and she keeps forcing us to work out. This is torture. I heard yesterday she was coming back and had nightmares all night. I finally had a breakthrough on my Project 3 research, and it just got scared right out of my head. Master Chen, please, do something. The researchers crowded around Chen Jinming, noses running and eyes streaming, not looking the least bit like the nation's top defense scientists. All right. Qin Ying's doing this for your own good. Without a solid physique, you won't last long in research either. Everyone, back to your seats. I actually have something important to discuss today. As he finished, Chen Jinming's tone sharpened just slightly, and the dozens of people in the room instantly changed expressions, wiping the smiles off their faces and shuffling back to their seats one by one. Only Qin Ing remained unbothered, dragging a chair over and plopping herself down. Chen Jinming glanced at her but said nothing more. He walked to the display screen at the front of the conference room and uploaded a video clip to the system. Then, facing the room, he said, "Take a look at this first." As his voice trailed off, dozens of pairs of eyes in the room turned toward the screen. On it, a car performed a series of impossibly difficult drifting maneuvers entirely on its own, no driver, no input whatsoever, before leaving a pack of supercars eating dust behind it. Even these top-tier defense researchers couldn't hide their shock. Beside them, Qi Ning, having just watched the footage, narrowed her striking eyes thoughtfully. Once the video finished playing, she sank into deep thought. Chen Jinming stepped slowly to the head of the room, swept his gaze across the crowd, and spoke with quiet authority. The moment his words faded, dozens of the country's top defense researchers exchanged glances before breaking into murmured discussion. Sitting at the front, Qi Ning narrowed her eyes, clearly lost in thought about something. After a few minutes of chatter, someone finally stood up and addressed Chen Jinming. "Master Chen, I'll admit this fully autonomous driving system in the video has something to it. But not much. Visually, it's impressive, but practically speaking, its real-world use is limited. From a civilian standpoint, sure, this tech could take the driving experience to another level. But drifting and stunt racing like that? No regulator's ever going to approve it. If Dami Group tries to bring this car to market, that feature alone would never clear certification. That said, from a purely technical angle, I do respect this Shen Fei. He seems to have a real natural gift for intelligent systems. Hongyi mentioned to me earlier that you might be considering recruiting him into our base to study. I think if he spent some time here learning military engineering fundamentals, he could genuinely contribute something valuable to our defense AI programs down the line." A young man in silver-rimmed glasses spoke eloquently, laying out his case. Several people in the room nodded along in agreement. Chen Jinming glanced up at the young man and suddenly asked, "Su Ting, and if we adapted it for military use?" "And military use?" The young man named Su Ting froze for a beat. Then, meeting Chen Jinming's steady gaze, he broke into an awkward, oily smile and shook his head. "Master Chen, don't put me on the spot like that. I can see where this is going. As things stand, this technology has no real path into military applications yet. Sure, during combat operations, an autonomous driving feature could free up manpower to some degree. But no matter how intelligent the system, it's ultimately still just a pile of cold, lifeless components. It can't make the right split-second calls when the battlefield shifts in an instant. Take what we just saw in the video, for example. The smart driving system only analyzes the road conditions in front of it, choosing the fastest, most efficient route through every turn. That's the fundamental logic behind any autonomous driving system. But on a battlefield, the closest path isn't always the safest, or even the right one. If we actually deployed a system like this in military operations, it could easily lead to irreversible disaster. Su Ting's words rang out one after another across the room, and this time, even more heads nodded in agreement. Several of the female researchers even shot Su Ting, sharp-looking as he was, admiring glances. But just then, a jarringly discordant voice cut through the room. "Su Ting, is it really that hard to admit that this Shen Fei guy is talented? All of you sit here looking down on him, too proud to acknowledge what he's built. But could any of you actually create a driving system like that yourselves?" The voice, dripping with sarcasm, landed on Su Ting and the others like a slap to the face. The moment they turned to see who'd spoken, they instantly deflated. "Ah, Ingjia, I didn't mean to look down on Shen Fei. I was just speaking objectively. As for the intelligent driving system itself, I haven't studied it, so I honestly can't say whether it's achievable or not." Su Ting forced out the words, bracing himself. Qi Ning rolled her eyes without hesitation and turned toward Chen Jinming. "Master Chen, look at how fake these people are being. Military research does outperform civilian work in plenty of areas, sure, but something impressive enough to stun a man like Lei Busi speechless, and they call it just being objective? They don't have a shred of basic respect for real technology. If you ask me, Master Chen, you've got way too many people crammed in here together. Lock each of them in their own little room to focus on research, and this kind of empty posturing would disappear." Qin Ying's words landed without mercy, and she showed no sign of backing down, leaving Su Ting, Ma Hongyi, and the others visibly twitching. If it weren't for the fact that Qin Ying's combat skills rivaled a special forces operative's, they'd have argued back by now. But as it stood, all they could do was avert their eyes and pretend not to hear her, or look pleadingly at Chen Jinming, hoping he'd step in on their behalf. That hope, however, was quickly extinguished. Blunt as Qin Ying's words were, they weren't wrong. When it came to Shunfei's autonomous driving system, it genuinely was a technology ahead of its time. He's a solid young man. I'm genuinely looking forward to having him here. Xiao Ma, how's the contact attempt going? Chen Jinming's tone shifted abruptly as he turned toward Ma Hongyi, seated nearby. Ma Hongyi blinked, caught off guard, then pulled out his phone, checked it, and answered with a hint of exasperation. Teacher, I went through the Tiger Kill streaming platform's official channel and got Shunfei's registered contact number. I called it twice using the recruitment office's official line, but both calls were declined. I also sent him a text message afterward, but he hasn't replied yet. Chen Jinming waved a hand, setting the matter aside for now. Beside him, Qi Ning couldn't resist shooting Ma Hongyi a pointed glance. She'd clearly caught every bit of the needling in his tone. Alright, let's just give Shunfei some time to respond. I'm confident that if he has any real interest in research, he won't pass up an opportunity like this. Now, let's move on to today's actual agenda. At this, Chen Jinming's voice grew measured, and the room instantly snapped to attention. So all of that had just been a warm-up, none of it was the real point of this meeting. Under the crowd's fixed attention, Chen Jinming picked up a piece of chalk and wrote a single line, across the blackboard, on the critical breakthrough points required for modern strategic aircraft. As Chen Jinming, Qi Ning, and the country's top defense engineering talent began diving into the topic of strategic aircraft, across the city at the headquarters of Shunsong Logistics, the nation's top courier company, its chairman, Wang Wei, was equally troubled over a matter concerning drones. Chairman Wang, should we keep pushing forward with development? We've already failed 6 trials in a row. If we keep this up, who knows how much more money will be pouring into it. An assistant standing beside Wang Wei, a middle-aged man with a pained expression, spoke up. Since the start of the previous year, in an effort to speed up deliveries, Shunsong had launched an initiative for drone-based delivery. To that end, the company had recruited a large team of specialists in the field, investing well over 1 billion yuan in total. But no one expected that after all the bold promises they'd made publicly, vowing to build a drone with strong endurance, solid delivery capacity, and rock-solid stability, one that could dramatically boost delivery efficiency nationwide, same-day shipping anywhere in the country, the results would fall so far short. All 6 prototypes had failed, either lacking sufficient flight range, or falling short on payload capacity, or, in the rare cases both were solved, proving too unstable to be reliable. In short, over the past year and more, Shunsong had burned through an enormous amount of money, and blown up more test aircraft than anyone cared to count. Now, both the company and Wang Wei were stuck in an impossible bind: stick their necks out and get cut down instantly, or stay quiet and slowly get suffocated by the situation regardless. Sigh, old Liang, I understand your concerns completely. But if we stop now, all the money we've already sunk into this would be for nothing. And you know me, I don't go back on my word. We made big public promises, and if this ends in silence, what will people think of Shunsong? What will they think of me? After a moment of deep thought, Wang Wei gritted his teeth and declared he'd see this through no matter the cost, determined to make good on every promise he'd made publicly. Hearing this, the middle-aged assistant beside him couldn't help but feel his knees go weak. Chairman Wang, please reconsider. All these years, Shunsong has turned a profit, sure, but we can't keep absorbing losses like this. Old Liang, wait. Don't say anything else yet. Before the assistant could finish, Wang Wei cut him off with a raised hand. Startled, the assistant paused, looking at him in confusion. At that moment, Wang Wei was staring straight ahead, his previously distracted gaze suddenly sharpening with intensity. Following Wang Wei's line of sight, the assistant felt his throat go dry as he swallowed hard. On the screen ahead, a frozen frame was displayed, showing none other than Lei Busi standing beside his new car. Chairman Wang, you're not thinking, exactly, old Liang. If Shunfei could build a groundbreaking new energy vehicle, then building us a drone that meets our requirements shouldn't be too difficult either. Ugh, why didn't I think of this sooner? I should have thought of this the moment I heard about the Dami Group car reveal at Beishan Plaza. Wang Wei muttered to himself, smacking his own thigh in frustration, then immediately pulled up his computer, and started placing an order right then and there. Beside him, the middle-aged assistant hesitated for a moment before finally speaking up. Chairman Wang, Shunfei's reputation isn't exactly spotless, you know. Wang Wei blinked, then chuckled as he kept typing out the order. Old Liang, you mean the whole shady profiteer rumor? Ha! If he can actually build me this drone, I won't even mind paying for the fuel, it's just gas money, chump change. As he spoke, Wang Wei finished submitting the order, then leaned back in his chair with a heavy sigh of relief, looking like a weight had finally lifted off his shoulders. The middle-aged assistant, however, still couldn't shake his frown. Chairman Wang, that's not what worries me. What I mean is, Shenfei is so young. Based on the voice recording circulating from the Beishan Plaza reveal, most people are guessing he's barely 20 years old. For someone that young to build a groundbreaking new energy vehicle is already stunning enough to earn everyone's respect. But talent has its limits. There's no way a 20-year-old could master new energy vehicle engineering and drone manufacturing at the same time, and the specs we're asking for have never even existed on the market before. I'd go so far as to say they'd be one of a kind globally. Can Shenfei really pull this off? The assistant laid out every concern he had. Wang Wei fell silent for a few seconds, gazing out the window at the blue sky and drifting clouds. Old Liang, I know it's a long shot, otherwise we wouldn't have failed 6 times already. But do you have a better plan right now? Wang Wei's question left the assistant momentarily speechless. After a pause, he composed himself and said, Chairman Wang, maybe you're right to try. But will Shenfei even accept our order? The number of people trying to place orders with him online right now must be through the roof. Hearing this, Wang Wei waved a hand with total confidence. Don't worry about that. I already checked. Right now, the highest value order in Shenfei's shop tops out at 20 million yuan. I just placed one for 1.2 billion. Didn't you say the man loves money? Then there's no way he turns this down. Wang Wei spoke with total certainty, and the assistant nodded reflexively before suddenly freezing. Wait, Chairman, how much did you say? 1.2 billion? Chairman Wang, are you sure you didn't add an extra zero by mistake? Like, meant to type 12 million and it became 1.2 billion? Once it fully registered, the assistant's composure cracked. After all, they were only building a small drone here, not a passenger jet. R&D costs could run high, sure, but manufacturing costs would top out in the tens of millions at most. 1.2 billion could practically buy a mid-size private jet. And the assistant also knew about Shenfei's policy of selling finished products only, never licensing the technology, which made this deal feel, to him, like an absolute, catastrophic overpay. It's fine, old Liang, don't overthink it. Money's meant to be spent. As long as Shenfei actually builds us this drone, it'll be worth every yuan. Even if one drone isn't enough to build out a full delivery fleet, if he pulls it off, we'll just order more from him. Any problem money can solve isn't really a problem at all. Wang Wei spoke with the swagger of a man who didn't worry about cost, and the assistant could only nod along, eyes twitching, privately thinking it might be worth looking into where Shenfei actually lived, maybe even assigning a few people to keep an eye on him, just in case he decided to take the money and vanish. After all, the internet was already calling him a shady profiteer who might bolt with the cash on any given deal. Still, the assistant figured 1.2 billion was tempting enough to keep him honest. Ever since the Dami car reveal ended, the promotional livestream for my shop on the Tiger Kill platform hadn't budged from the #1 spot on the front page. Countless viewers flocked in just to see what kind of orders were coming through my stream, and things were about to get even more absurd. The moment Wang Wei's order came in like a dark horse and claimed the top spot for order value, the millions of viewers currently in my stream were completely floored. Holy crap, am I reading that right? 1.2 billion? Shunsong Group just placed a 1.2 billion yuan order with Brother Fei? This Chairman Wang doesn't mess around. That's 1.2 billion actual yuan, not some in-game currency. I can't even process that. 1.2 billion. I'll never see that kind of money in my whole life. Suddenly Lei Busi looks stingy by comparison. Look at this guy, casually dropping 9 figures. Ugh, to think I once believed a $100,000 computer was as close as I'd ever get to owning something Brother Fei built. Ha! Rumor has it the computer he built for his son is too precious to even game on anymore. It's basically a shrine piece in the live stream now. I envy that kid. I envy Hi Sister too. I'm sick with regret. Anyway, what's Chairman Wang even ordering with 1.2 billion? Why is this order marked confidential? Probably building an Ultraman suit. Nonsense, I bet it's an Iron Warrior mech. Viewers in the stream debated wildly, their curiosity spiraling out of control as they tried to figure out exactly what Wang Wei had ordered. It didn't take long before internet sleuths managed to dig up some clues. I got it. It's a drone. Wang Wei's order to Brother Fei has to be for a drone. A D-drone? Wait, are you talking about that kind of drone? What drone could possibly cost 1.2 billion? Man, Chairman Wang's lost it. Even the fanciest drone in the world isn't worth over 100 million. Whatever, it's not our money. If Brother Fei actually pulls it off, I'm switching all my deliveries to Shunsong for good. Same here. I never got to use Brother Faye's computers or motorcycles, but at least I'll get to use his drones. Once the crowd landed on drone as the likely answer, the millions of viewers in the stream absolutely lost their minds. Even more shocking, within half an hour of the news spreading, Shuensong's stock price shot up significantly. Inside the chairman's office on the top floor of Shuensong's headquarters, the assistant, Liang Xinzhong, sat completely stunned. It took him a solid 10+ seconds to snap back to reality, after which he shook his head with a wry laugh, looking at Wang Wei seated in his office chair. Chairman Wang, I clearly underestimated this man's influence. After the stunning success of the Dammy car reveal, his fame has genuinely skyrocketed. At this rate, it won't be long before your 1.2 billion investment pays for itself. Assistant Liang couldn't help clicking his tongue in disbelief. Wang Wei, meanwhile, stared at his computer screen with an expression that had turned oddly troubled. Old Liang, why hasn't Shenfei accepted the order yet? Did I not offer enough? Wang Wei was thrilled about Shuensong's rising stock, of course, but he also knew the surge was entirely thanks to me, and if I ended up rejecting the order, it would be a disaster. The stock that had just climbed would tumble right back down, probably even further, since word would inevitably spread online that I'd turned them down. Their whole drone delivery initiative would look dead in the water. Chairman Wang, I doubt it's about the price, you already offered more than generous terms. Maybe Mr. Shenfei simply has other matters to handle at the moment. The assistant offered what reassurance he could, doing his best to guess. But the instant those words left his mouth, Wang Wei suddenly shot up out of his chair, startling the assistant badly. Seeing the usually composed Wang Wei this worked up, the assistant blurted out excitedly, Chairman Wang, did Mr. Shenfei accept the order? In response to the question, Wang Wei's expression twisted into something between a laugh and a grimace. He pointed at the screen in front of him and admitted, somewhat mortified, no wonder Shenfei wasn't accepting it. I just reopened the order details in a panic to double-check, and I realized, I entered the drone specs completely wrong. Both the flight range and the payload capacity, I accidentally added an extra 0 to each one. Must have happened while I was placing the order, and got distracted talking to you. No wonder he wouldn't touch it. 10,000 kilometers of range, 10 metric tons of payload, there's no way any drone could physically meet those numbers. Ugh, let me see if I can cancel this order, and submit a corrected one to Shenfei instead. As Wang Wei grimaced and reached for the mouse to try and find the cancel option, a notification suddenly popped up on the Tiger Kill livestream backend. Ding! Friendly reminder, your shop order on the Tiger Kill livestream platform has been accepted by the shop owner. Order status updated to, accepted. Staring at the message, Wang Wei's face went completely blank for a moment, and he rubbed his eyes hard, twice, just to make sure he wasn't seeing things. Once certain, an utterly bewildered shout tore out of his throat. Old Liang, look at this, tell me I'm not seeing things. He actually accepted it, a drone order with specs this absurd, and Shenfei just accepted it. He actually accepted it. On the balcony of an apartment in downtown Moda City, I lay stretched out on a lounge chair, basking comfortably in the afternoon sun, glancing once more at the order I just accepted, muttering to myself. Looks like Chairman Wang really knows quality when he sees it. That's more like it. A challenging order backed by real money, that's what gets me motivated to build. I rose from the lounge chair, stretched contentedly, and figured it was time to head back to the shop and get started on Wang Wei's drone order. Now that I'd banked 10 million points, the system had unlocked Stage 3's top-tier military manufacturing. Before gaining access to that skill tier, pulling off Wang Wei's drone order would have been borderline impossible. But now, I figured I could actually take on the challenge, and it wasn't just the difficulty of the order that had me interested, the price tag was more than satisfying too. Alongside unlocking Stage 3, the system had already revealed the point requirement for Stage 4, a staggering 1 billion points. I'd guessed it might be steep, but never imagined the next tier would demand that much. Still, the label attached to Stage 4, Concept Tier Military Manufacturing, went a long way towards settling my nerves. I had no idea exactly what Concept Tier Military Manufacturing actually entailed, but just the name alone radiated an aura of pure, next-level prestige. 1 billion points felt more than justified for that. Oh, right, there was also this. Setting Wang Wei's order aside for a moment, I pulled out my phone again and glanced at the 2 missed calls and 1 text message sitting there. Obviously from Ma Hongyi over at the military research base. I hadn't picked up either call, and while I had read the text, I had zero intention of replying. Mostly because I genuinely had no idea what to even say back. Whatever, not my problem. I had no interest whatsoever in joining some military research base anyway, I muttered to myself, dragging both the text and the missed call straight to the trash. It probably wouldn't even pay well, which meant it'd do nothing to help me level up the system faster. And there was another important factor: life inside a military research base almost certainly wouldn't offer the kind of freedom I currently enjoyed. I'd probably get stuck researching things I had zero interest in, or projects with barely any real challenge to them, all reasons enough to shut the door firmly on ever joining a research base. As I set off back toward my shop on the city outskirts to start work on Xuansong's drone order, back at Shunsong headquarters, in the chairman's office, Wang Wei and assistant Liang Shuzhong stared at each other in silence for a long moment, both of them slowly emerging from their state of shock, though a deep, lingering sense of disbelief still clung to their eyes. "Chairman Wang, maybe you should slap me. None of this feels real. We struggled just building a drone with a 1,000-kilometer range and 1-ton payload, and Shunfei just casually accepted an order for 10,000-kilometer range and 10-ton payload? Am I dreaming right now?" Liang Shuzhong swallowed hard, throat bobbing. The reason he'd landed the position of Wang Wei's chief assistant in the first place had been carefully engineered by the board of directors, precisely because Wang Wei tended to spend with reckless abandon. The board, worried he'd bankrupt the company through sheer extravagance, had specifically assigned him this notoriously tight-fisted middle-aged assistant. And yet, even Liang Shuzhong now felt that Wang Wei's staggering 1.2 billion gamble might genuinely be worth it. If they truly managed to get a drone like this built, Shunsong wouldn't just dominate the domestic courier industry. They'd have no serious competition anywhere in the world. Same-day delivery, morning drop-off to afternoon arrival, who else could even come close to that? "Old Liang, do you think maybe we've been playing it too safe with our orders all this time? Shunfei isn't even human anymore, he's some kind of research freak." Wang Wei watched Liang Shuzhong's exaggerated expression, though he privately admitted he wasn't handling this much better himself. Ever since building his delivery empire from nothing, very few people had managed to genuinely impress Wang Wei. But ever since he'd first heard the name Shunfei, his sense of what was possible had been shattered again and again. For the first time in his life, Wang Wei felt there was something in this world more captivating than making money. "Chairman Wang, are you starting to feel the urge to go back to school and pursue a graduate degree or something?" "Not gonna lie, so do I. The old saying goes, knowledge is power, and nothing ranks higher than scholarship. I used to think phrases like that felt out of touch with the times, but Shunfei made me understand the true weight and magnetism of real knowledge." Liang Shuzhong spoke with genuine feeling, his expression carrying a strange, almost wistful quality. "Alright, old Liang, let's not get too sentimental here. There are countless researchers across the world, but someone with Shunfei's talent and sheer nerve is one of a kind. Dragon Nation's been missing a brilliant, shining figure like this in the scientific world, someone who can light the way forward for so many lost young people, like a beacon. And I know, there's something else you haven't said yet, that compared to someone like Shunfei, even people like me or Lei Busi, billionaires many times over, start to feel almost unimpressive by comparison, don't we?" Wang Wei teased at the end, feeling downright light-hearted now, and genuinely excited about the drone I would soon deliver. Liang Shuzhong, hearing this, didn't dare respond directly. After a beat of awkward silence, he suddenly seemed to find a new topic and asked, "By the way, Chairman Wang, did you set a deadline on Shunfei's order? Should we go ahead and release an announcement early? The internet's already figured out we placed a drone order with him anyway, so there's not much point hiding it. Plus, Lei Busi already gave us the perfect blueprint. Announcing 3 days ahead of time turned the Beishan Plaza reveal into an instant sensation. We really should take a page from his marketing playbook." Hearing this, Wang Wei fell into thought for a moment, then spoke decisively. "Old Liang, good call. Yes, we should absolutely put out an announcement. I never gave Shunfei a hard deadline, but based on how fast he's completed past orders, I'd guess we'll have the shipment within a week at most. Let's lock in 1 week, then. 1 week from now, at Haihu Park in Shuncheng, we'll hold our drone unveiling. Let's see once and for all whether Lei Busi's Dammy car reveal made bigger waves, or ours does." By the end, even Wang Wei, seasoned as he was in the business world, couldn't hide his excitement. Naturally, Liang Shuzhong was even more fired up. "Yes sir, I'll get it arranged right away." With a firm nod, Liang Shuzhong hurried out of the office. He moved fast. Within 10 minutes of finishing his conversation with Wang Wei, an announcement had already gone live on Shunsong Group's official website and across all its major platform accounts. The announcement was simple: 7 days from now, at Haihu Park in Shuncheng, Shunsong Group would hold a drone delivery unveiling event. Stay tuned. Short as it was, the message hit the internet like a boulder dropped into a still lake, sending ripples of excitement crashing outward in no time at all. Knew it, had to be a drone. Chairman Wang commissioned Brother Fei to build a drone. I can't keep up, I genuinely cannot keep up. I already took time off work to watch the dummy reveal. Now I'm gonna have to take off again. At this rate my boss is actually gonna fire me. Relax, bro, just watch it openly at work. I have a feeling your boss will be watching too, way too busy to care what you're doing. You know what, man, you're right, next time give me that advice earlier. Chasing these live stream reveals, I finally get what girls mean when they binge watch variety shows. It's unreal how satisfying this is. Beneath Xuansong's official post, the comment count shot past 10,000 within minutes, everyone buzzing with anticipation for the drone unveiling 7 days out. Meanwhile, back at the 1st Military District's Defense Research Base, Chen Jinming's research session with Qi Ning and the others had ground to a dead silence. Master Chen, it's just not feasible. There's no way to make it work. Strategic aircraft right now really only serve 2 core functions, strategic bombing and supply drops. Starting with bombing runs, the only real way to guarantee our pilots and aircraft return safely is through better external armor. But even Sister Ying's newly developed T-shaped ultra-hardened alloy can't guarantee surviving a direct hit from an air-to-air missile without failure. On the ground, a tank might survive 1 or 2 missile hits, but the air is a different story entirely, the smallest malfunction up there is fatal. As for supply drops, sure, dropping supplies within friendly territory carries far less risk, but it still can't be guaranteed 100% safe. So honestly, I think this whole proposal is a false premise from the start. It's simply not achievable. In the silent conference room, Ma Hongyi was the first to stand and speak up. Chen Jinming waved a hand, signaling him to sit back down, then swept his gaze across the room, staring down the 40 or 50 top-tier defense researchers gathered before him. No solutions at all? Not even a rough concept? Chen Jinming's voice echoed through the room, met only with deepening silence. Only Qi Ning furrowed her brow slightly, as if about to say something, but in the end, she shook her head and swallowed the words back down. Back at the shop on the outskirts. I looked over Wang Wei's order specs one more time, then opened up the super laboratory. Only with that at my disposal did I dare accept this order. Even if I failed, time wasn't something I needed to worry about. On top of that, both the equipment lineup and material stockpile in the super laboratory had been fully upgraded to military grade. Inside it, I could use top-tier defense manufacturing equipment completely free of charge, and I could also purchase any military-grade material available on the market, though some of those price tags made my skin crawl just looking at them. Some of those numbers had so many zeros trailing behind them, I didn't even want to count. So when I told Lei Busi I was a little short on cash recently, I genuinely wasn't joking. During order fulfillment, the system's rule was simple: the more money I saved, the more points I earned. But someday, I might want to build something on my own terms, and when that day came, I'd want the absolute best materials available, and my current funds honestly wouldn't cut it for anything ambitious. Ugh, Chairman Wang, out there people are already calling me the Shady Profiteer. The shop's Shady Profiteer tag has practically hit 30 million likes at this point. Honestly, this time I really did intend to build you a proper drone and shed that reputation for good. But right now, I'm just feeling broke, you gotta understand. I muttered to myself, then pulled up the super laboratory's material inventory system. I spent nearly half a day sifting through the material library, carefully gathering everything needed to build the drone. Compared to previous projects, this selection process definitely took longer than usual, but there was no way around it. Military-grade materials were absurdly expensive, and I kept searching for viable substitutes wherever I could. Fortunately, persistence paid off. What could have cost several million in materials, I managed to compress down to under 200,000. Tallying everything together, the total came to just 1.8 million yuan paid to the system, and if Wang Wei ever found out that number, he'd probably have a breakdown on the spot. Big guy, I paid you 1.2 billion, a full 1.2 billion, and you only ended up spending 1.8 million? Wang Wei obviously had no idea right now how little I'd actually spent, but he'd probably find out eventually. Because right before I entered the super laboratory, I'd caught a glimpse of the system already generating one of its periodic financial reports. I had a feeling the system would just publish that report straight up, without even letting me preview it first, no way to edit it myself at all. The thought made me mutter to myself. Ugh, after finishing this order, should probably hire some bodyguards, or maybe renovate the shop with some actual defensive weapons installed. Something about this whole situation left me feeling uneasy. With the materials finalized, I ran through the entire construction process in my head once more. For an ordinary drone, I could crank out a dozen or more in under a day. But building a drone with 10,000 km range, 10 metric tons of cargo capacity, and rock-solid stability on top of it, no exaggeration, this was a bigger challenge than even building Lei Busi's new energy vehicle had been. That car hadn't required much thought beyond one thing, the autonomous driving system. But, the three critical requirements Wang Wei demanded for this drone were fundamentally at odds with each other. Longer range made higher payload harder to achieve. Higher payload made stability harder to control. Stronger stability, meanwhile, would end up constraining both range and payload. Finding a balance point among all three would be extraordinarily, punishingly difficult. It was like a craftsman trying to machine an exquisitely precise component down to a single micron of tolerance, even half a millimeter of deviation would ruin it. And what I was facing now was countless times harder than crafting any single component. Alright, 3 problems, tackle them one at a time, start with the easiest, range. I let out a slow breath, then began architecting the build in my mind. As the framework took shape, I began summoning the necessary manufacturing equipment straight out of the super laboratory. Calling range the easiest problem was, of course, only relative to the other two. According to Wang Wei's specs, the drone's fuselage needed to be roughly 10 meters long, essentially the practical upper limit for any drone's length. It wasn't that longer was impossible, just that this length represented the sweet spot. For a drone's design, anything longer would drastically hurt its maneuverability. A standard commercial airliner, by comparison, runs about 30 meters long and manages a range of roughly 12,300 kilometers. Which meant I now had to hit that same range, using roughly a third of an airliner's overall size, an almost absurd challenge to even contemplate. But right then, a possibility struck me, and my eyes lit up as I muttered to myself. The biggest obstacle to extending range was fuel tank size. A tank too large would inevitably eat into cargo space and hurt stability. Every aircraft currently in use ran on aviation kerosene, and tank size correlated with range, sure, but the fuel itself mattered even more. If tank size was the problem, what about tackling the fuel instead? Yes, that was exactly the right approach, and probably the optimal solution. By the end of that train of thought, my eyes were practically glowing with excitement. Without wasting another second, I threw myself fully into solving the fuel problem. Meanwhile, elsewhere, back at the 1st Military District's research base in Moda City, Chen Zhiming had given Su Ting and the others a full 30 minutes to brainstorm solutions for the strategic aircraft safety issue. But half an hour later, Su Ting and the rest were still staring blankly at one another, minds completely empty, without a single workable idea. To understand this meeting's real origin, we have to go back 3 days. 3 days earlier, Dragon Nation and the nation of Maoxiong had secretly conducted a joint modern aerial combat exercise. Ever since fighter jets first emerged, air superiority had become the single deciding factor in nearly every war. Every nation, naturally, poured enormous resources into their own air combat capabilities. In recent years, Dragon Nation had spared absolutely no expense building up its air force. But 3 days ago, that joint exercise between Dragon Nation and Maoxiong left the country's top military brass utterly chilled to the bone. It wasn't that Dragon Nation had been outmatched in the air, quite the opposite, in fact. Dragon Nation ultimately won the exercise. But the victory came at a brutal cost. Across the entire exercise, Dragon Nation deployed 100 fighter jets in total, 20 J-H-7 series fighter bombers, 25 J-10 series, and Su-27/J-11 series aircraft including the J-11B, 10 Su-30MK series, 8 Su-35s, 10 J-15s, 8 J-16 series including the J-16D, and 12 J-20 series, essentially deploying its entire strategic aircraft roster, equivalent to a full aviation brigade. Maoxiong's side, meanwhile, deployed just 10 fighter jets. Just as Dragon Nation's military brass began assuming Maoxiong was fielding some kind of joke of a force, Maoxiong delivered a brutal lesson through pure results. Those 100 fighter jets easily wiped out Maoxiong's 10 aircraft, even managing to knock out Maoxiong's entire combat command base. But that success came at the cost of fully exposing all 100 Dragon Nation jets to enemy detection. Maoxiong, opting for a brute force response, unleashed every anti-air battery and missile barrage it had. Using a single command base, Maoxiong took down an entire aviation division of 98 Dragon Nation fighter jets, only 2 managed to make it back to base intact. Looking purely at the outcome, Dragon Nation technically won this exercise. The military brass immediately convened an emergency meeting to dissect the underlying cause behind such a devastating engagement. After 8 grueling hours of intense debate, the brass finally arrived at their conclusion: the defensive capabilities of strategic aircraft were simply too weak. Any deep incursion behind enemy lines would inevitably result in a brutal trade, 1,000 enemies killed for 800 of their own lost. And the more pressing concern wasn't even the loss of the aircraft itself, but the loss of the pilots flying them. Every single fighter pilot represented years of painstaking, elite training, 1 in a million talent. Losing even one was devastating, let alone losing an entire squadron. That's why the order came down urgently to Chen Jinming, demanding that he lead every top researcher at the base to find a solution to the strategic aircraft pilot's safety problem within a single week. Today marked the second day since Chen Jinming had received that order. Master Chen, honestly, this isn't a problem unique to us, every other nation is grappling with the same issue, so please, don't stress yourself too much over this. In the short term, I genuinely don't think this strategic aircraft safety problem is solvable. Even if they put a gun to our heads, this issue wouldn't budge easily. Seeing the room's mood turning heavy, Me-Manhwa stood up to speak, and the moment he opened his mouth, Chen Jinming's temper flared so hard his mustache practically bristled. I don't need you telling me that. Leave it to time, is that the mindset every single one of you defaults to whenever you hit a hard research problem? Well, let me ask you this, if time alone solves the problem, then what exactly do I need any of you for? And if everyone else in the world eventually solves it too, what advantage does that leave Dragon Nation with? What our superiors want is for us to solve this ahead of every other nation. So here's the deal, 2 days. I'm giving you 2 days. If you can't even come up with a basic concept in that time, then maybe I really should consider taking Qin Ying's advice and locking every last one of you in solitary rooms to force some real focus. With that, Chen Jinming slammed his hand down on the table, his face darkening as he stormed out of the conference room, leaving Su Ting, Me-Manhwa, and the rest staring blankly at one another. After a beat, Me-Manhwa couldn't help but glance toward Qin Ying, plastering on an obsequious smile. Sister Ying, Instructor Qin, you always have the most ideas out of anyone here. Any chance you could throw us a hint? I really don't think Master Chen was joking around this time. The moment Me-Manhwa's voice rang out across the room, everyone else's heads snapped toward Qin Ying seated at the front, their faces practically dripping with desperate hope. Even though most of them had technically become her students the moment they joined the research base, almost none of them had actually studied under her directly, but her reputation preceded her. Back in her own generation, her peers had all gone on to become leading figures across various defense research institutions, and Qin Ying stood among the very best of them. If she hadn't preferred the relative peace and quiet of this particular base, she'd almost certainly have been poached by another military district long ago to lead an entire district's defense research operations. Oh, now you want my help? Weren't you all just tattling to Master Chen a minute ago? And like you said yourself, I'm the instructor. Whether Master Chen locks you all in solitary rooms is none of my concern. Good luck, you're on your own. Qin Ying gave Me-Manhwa and the others a flat, indifferent glance, then rose to her feet, striding out on those long legs of hers, leaving the whole room staring after her in stunned silence. Me-Manhwa and the others, left standing there, felt something inside them collapse completely, hitting rock bottom. Well, guess we can't count on anyone but ourselves now. Let's all just do our best. Within 2 days, we need to at least present Master Chen with something reasonable. If we really can't crack it, we should still throw out as many ideas as possible, even wrong ones. Master Chen's probably furious enough already after we all went silent on him today. Su Ting sighed, shaking his head, and the others exchanged glances before nodding in silent agreement. Time slipped by like sand through fingers, and 2 days passed in a blur. While Su Ting and the other top defense researchers racked their brains over the strategic aircraft's defense problem, back at my shop on the outskirts of Modu City, I had already spent a full 100 days inside the super laboratory. If the drone development process hadn't kept me so relentlessly busy, with barely any sense of time passing, I probably would have lost my mind by now. But hard work paid off in the end. After over 3 months of relentless effort, I'd finally finished building the drone Wang Wei had requested, a groundbreaking machine boasting 10,000 kilometer range, 10-ton payload capacity, and exceptional stability, all in one package. Staring at my finished creation, I couldn't help but let a flicker of genuine excitement cross my face this time. Asterisk ding. System now scoring host's latest experiment, asterisk after evaluation, the system has determined the host's drone manufacturing experiment achieved a perfect score of 100. For the fuel tank engineering specifically, the host's insight and craftsmanship exceeded all known limits, earning an S-tier rating. Reward, 10 points of intelligence, and 10 million system upgrade points. The system's calm voice rattled off one line after another, and at first, I barely registered any of it. But when I processed the last 2 lines, my body, already halfway toward leaving the lab, froze completely in place. The 10 million upgrade points were nothing special. The system had always been stingy in that department. Compared to the billion points needed for the next tier, 10 million felt like scraps tossed my way out of pity. But those 10 points of intelligence made my throat go dry, and I found myself swallowing hard, adrenaline practically surging through my veins. If I understood this correctly, those 10 intelligence points were roughly equivalent to bumping 10 people with an IQ of 100, average, ordinary talent, up to an IQ of 110, which was already considered genuinely gifted. In other words, this 10-point intelligence boost from the system could instantly elevate someone from average intellect to elite-tier cognition. And applied to me specifically, the effect would likely be even more dramatic, since my natural aptitude and insight for research and scientific work were already considered top-tier to begin with. They say Einstein's IQ was famously off the charts, reportedly hitting 160. I'd never known whether I could match that. I hadn't even scratched the surface of yet. But even just this one function alone, boosting raw intelligence, was already terrifying enough in what it implied. I took a deep breath, forcing down the excitement rising in my chest, then looked up once more at my finished creation before carrying it out of the super laboratory.